बलदायस्य विश्व उपासते प्रशिशं यस्य देवाः यस्य छायामृतं यस्य मृत्युः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम ॐ यः प्राणतो निमिषतो महित्वैक इद्राजा जगतो बभूव य ईशे अस्य द्विपदश्चतुष्पदः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम ॐ येन द्यौरुग्रा पृथिवी च दृढा येन स्वस्तभितं येन नाकः यो अन्तरिक्षे रजसो विमानः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम ॐ प्रजापतेन त्वदेतान्यन्यो विश्वा जातानि परिता बभूव यत्कामास्ते जुहुमस्तन्नो अस्तु वयं स्याम पतयोरयेणाम् ॐ सनो बन्धुर्जनिता सविधाता धामानि वेदभुवनानि विश्वा यत्र देवा अमृतमानशानास्त्रितीये धामन्नध्यैरयन्त ॐ अग्नेनय सुपथा राये अस्मान् विश्वानि देववयुनानि विद्वान् युयोध्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनो भूयिष्ठान्ते नम उक्तिं विधेम इतीश्वर स्तुति प्रार्थनोपासना mantra. After the recitation of these 8 prayer mantras, now we are going to perform the ritual of Achamanam. Om Ambritopastaranamasi Svaha. Om Amritapidhanamasi Svaha. Om Satyam Yashah Shrirmayi Shri Shrayatam Svaha. Angasparsh. Om Vangma Asyestu. Om Nasurme Pranostu. Om Akshnurme Chakshurastu. Om Karnayorme Shrotramastu. Om Bahvurme Balamastu. Om Urvurma Ojostu. Om Arishtani Mingani Tanustanvami Sahasantu. Now we are going to start Agnihotra. Om Bhuribhuvah Svaha. Om Bhuribhuvah Svardyauriva Bhumna Prithiviva Varimna Tasyaste Prithivideva Yajani Prishthegni Mannada Manna Dhyayadadhe. Om Udbudhya Svagni Pratijagrihi Tvamishta Purte Samsrijetamayancha Asmin Sadaste Adhyuttarasmin Vishve Devaya Jamanascha Sidata. प्रथम समिधा को ले लीजिए. ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ समिधाग्निन्दुवस्य तघ्रितैर्बोधयतातिथिम् आस्मिन् हव्याजुहोतन ॐ सुसमिद्धाय शोचिषे घृतं तीव्रं जुहोतन अग्नये जातवेदसे स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ तन्त्वा समिद्भिरङ्गिरो घृतेन वर्धयामसि बृहच्छोचाय विष्ट्य स्वाहा इदमग्नयेङ्गिरसे इदन्न मम पंचघृताहुति ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ अयन्त इद्म आत्मा जातवेदस्ते नेध्यस्व वर्धस्व चेद्धवर्धय चास्मान् प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्म वर्चसे नान्नाद्येन समेधय स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे इदन्न मम ॐ अदितेनुमन्यस्व ॐ अनुमतेनुमन्यस्व ॐ सरस्वत्यनुमन्यस्व ॐ देवसवितः प्रसुवयज्ञं प्रसुवयज्ञपतिं भगाय दिव्यो गन्धर्वः केतपूः केतन्नः पुनातु वाचस्पतिर्वाचन्नः स्वदतु ॐ अग्नये स्वाहा इदमग्नये इदन्न मम ॐ सोमाय स्वाहा इदं सोमाय इदन्न मम ॐ प्रजापतये स्वाहा इदं प्रजापतये इदन्न मम ॐ इन्द्राय स्वाहा इदमिन्द्राय इदन्न मम ॐ अग्निर्ज्योतिर्ज्योतिरग्निः स्वाहा ॐ अग्निर्वर्चो ज्योतिर्वर्चः स्वाहा ॐ स्वाहा ॐ सजुर्देवेन सवित्रा सजूरात्र्येन्द्रवत्या जुषाणो अग्निर्वेतु स्वाहा ॐ भूरग्नये प्राणाय स्वाहा इदमग्नये प्राणाय इदन्न मम ॐ भुवर्वायवे पानाय स्वाहा इदं वायवे पानाय इदन्न मम ॐ स्वरादित्याय व्यानाय स्वाहा इदमादित्याय व्यानाय इदन्नमम ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वरग्निवायुवादित्येभ्यः प्राणापानव्यानेभ्यः स्वाहा इदमग्निवायुवादित्येभ्यः प्राणापानव्यानेभ्यः इदन्नमम ॐ आपो ज्योतिरसोऽमृतं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवः स्वरों स्वाहा ॐ यां मेधां देवगणाः पितरश्चोपासते तयामामद्य मेधयाग्ने मेधाविनं कुरु स्वाहा ॐ विश्वानि देव सवितर्दुरितानि परासुव यद्भद्रं तन्न आसुव स्वाहा ॐ अग्नेनय सुपथा राये अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् युयोध्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनो भूयिष्ठान्ते नमवुक्तिं विधेम स्वाहा. After the daily offerings, now we are going to chant some special mantras to give. These are the special mantras that are collected by Vedic Vidwan. So I request all of you to chant the last word Swaha at the end of the mantra, and saying the last word Swaha, you are connected with the mantra and you are trying to pay your humble tributes to the departed soul, Amar Erry ji. Om Vayuranilamamritamethedam bhasmantam shariram. Om Krato smara klibe smara kritam smara swaha. Om Prajapati Sambriyamanaha Sambrat Sambrito Vaishvadevaha Sansannu Gharmaha Pravriktasteja Udyata Ashvinaha Payasyani Yamani Paushno Vishpandamani Marutaha Klathan Maitraha Sharasi Santayamani Vayavyo Hriyamana Agneyo Yamano Vaghutaha Swaha. Om Savita Pratame Ahannagnir Vayustritiye Adityaschturthe Chandramaha Panchama Rituhu Shashte Marutaha Saptame Brihaspatirashtame Mitro Navame Varuno Dashama Indra Ekadashe Vishve Deva Dvadashe Swaha. Om Ye Chit Purvarita Vanrita Vridaha Pitrin Tapasvato Yamatanshi Devapi Gacchatat Swaha. Om Vibhaktaram Havamahe Vasoshchitrasya Radhasaha Savitaram Drichakshasam Swaha. Maharshi Dayananda described, and he asked the family and the friends to chant the mantras of the Swastivachan and the mantras of the Shantikaran, and he recommended to give ahutis with these mantras. So according to time, now we are going to chant a few mantras of the Shantikaranam, not all the mantras, only few mantras of the Shantikaranam. Joining the word Swaha with them, we are going to give the ahutis. Om Tachakshurdeva hitam purasta chukramucharat Pashyema sharadashyatam jivema sharadashyatam Shrinuyama sharadashyatam Prabravama sharadashyatam hasyama Sharadashyatam bhuyascha sharadashyatat Swaha. Om Dyahu Shantirantariksam Shantihi Prithvi Shantirapa Shantiroshadaya Shantihi Vanaspataya Shantir Vishve Deva Shantir Brahma Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Swaha Om Yajjagrato Dura Mudaiti Daivam Tadu Suptasya Tathaivai Durangamam Jyotisham Jyotirekam Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu Swaha Om Yenedam Bhutam Bhuvanam Bhavishyat Parigrihita Mamritena Sarvam Yena Yajjastayate Saptahota Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu Swaha Om Susharathirashvani Vayan Manushyan Neniyate Bhishu Bhirivajina Iva Hrit Pratishtham Yadajiram Javishtham Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu Swaha Om Abhayam Nah Karatyantariksham Abhayam Dhyava Prithivi Ubhe Ime Abhayam Paschad Abhayam Purastaduttarada Dabhayanno Astu Swaha. Now a few mantras from Swastivachana. Om Agnimile Purohitam Yajjasya Deva Mritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam Swaha. Om Bhareshvindram Suhavam Havamahe Amho Mucham Sukritam Daivyam Janam Agnim Mitram Varunam Sataye Bhagam Dhyava Prithivi Marutah Swastaye Swaha. Om Anu Bhadraha Kratavo Yantu Vishvato Dabdasu Aparitasa Udbhidaha Devano Yatha Sadamidvridhe Asanna Prayuvo Rakshitaru Dive Dive Swaha. The last mantra of the Swastivachana. Om Yetru Shaptaha Pariyante Vishwarupani Bibhrataha Vachaspatir Balatesham Tanvo Adya Dadhatu Me Swaha. Now the Ahutis, 3 Ahutis with Gayatri mantra followed by Purnahuti. Om Bhuri Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturivarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhuri Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturivarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhuri Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturivarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Purnahuti. You can also chant the last 3 mantras. Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Now I humbly request Bhuvanesh ji to conduct the remaining ceremony and the remaining rituals. Thank you.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Acharyaji, for those benevolent prayers. As we collectively pray for the Sadgati and the peace of the departed soul, we're all gathered here to pay homage to a person who touched many lives across many continents, across many communities, no matter what background they were from. First of all, I'd like to request my dearly father, Aryapatik Girish Khosla Vanprasthi ji, who is the trustee and the founder of Aryapratni Sabha America. He had a great friendship and relationship with respected Shri Erry ji, and on behalf of Sabha, I'll request him to give the official tributes.
धन्यवाद भुवनेश जी। आज मेरा दिल बहुत ही दुखी है। मैं विश्वास ही नहीं कर सकता हूँ कि श्री अमरचंद जी एरी हमारे मध्य नहीं रहे। श्री अमरचंद जी एरी, मेरा उनका संबंध '89 से था, जब मैं इंग्लैंड से यहाँ पर माइग्रेट हुआ। 89 में श्री एरी जी से टोरंटो में मिला और वहाँ उन्होंने किस आत्मीयता से, किस प्रेम से मेरा स्वागत किया, मेरा सत्कार किया। मैं उनका सदैव ही एकदम से उनसे इतनी मेरी घनिष्ठता बढ़ी, जैसे जन्मों जन्मों से हम एक दूसरे को जानते हैं। मैंने अमेरिका कनाडा आके अपने सामाजिक जीवन की प्रारंभ किया और अमर एरी जी से कंसल्ट किया कि यहाँ पर प्रतिनिधि सभा का कोई संस्था अभी तक नहीं थी और हमें यहाँ पर आर्य प्रतिनिधि सभा का शुभारंभ करना चाहिए। अमर एरी जी ने भरपूर दिल से मेरा समर्थन किया और उससे पहले डिट्रॉइट में कोई भी आर्य समाज की संस्था नहीं थी, तो सबसे पहले हमने आर्य समाज मिशिगन की नींव डाली और एक रविवार को श्री अमरचंद जी एरी, हमारे आदरणीय बुजुर्ग श्री सीपी गुप्ता जी, उनकी धर्मपत्नी शीला गुप्ता जी और कुछ सदस्य कनाडा से आए और हमारा उस उत्साह बढ़ाया। उसके बाद से हमारा और श्री अमरचंद जी एरी का दैनिक वार्तालाप शुरू हुआ। हम आधे आधे घंटे, उन दिनों तो टेलीफोन सस्ते नहीं थे, आधे आधे घंटे इंटरनेशनल कॉल करते थे और एक दूसरे से विचार विमर्श करते थे। उन्हीं विचार विमर्शों ने परिको पूर्णता की और अप्रैल में 13 अप्रैल 1991 में डिट्रॉइट में हमने आर्य प्रतिनिधि सभा अमेरिका की स्थापना की। हमारे प्रधान श्री रामचंद्र जी महाजन और न्यू जर्सी से डॉक्टर राजेंद्र जी गांधी और श्रीमती गांधी जी ने, ज्योति गांधी जी ने हमारा भरपूर समर्थन किया और हमने न्यूयॉर्क से डॉक्टर सतीश प्रकाश जी को आमंत्रित किया। पंडित रामलाल जी आए और उस समय एक प्रस्ताव पास करके 13 अप्रैल 1991 को हमने आर्य प्रतिनिधि सभा अमेरिका की स्थापना की। पहले सम्मेलन के बाद डॉक्टर राजेंद्र जी गांधी, जिनका कि शुरू से हमें इतना सहारा था, उन्होंने मिलके न्यू जर्सी में सेकंड सम्मेलन किया और वो सम्मेलन ऐसा था कि किसी के दिल में नहीं था इतना बड़ा सम्मेलन कर पाए। राजेंद्र गांधी जी ने वो किया सम्मेलन। श्री अमरचंद जी एरी का हमें पूर्ण सहायता, उनका पूर्ण विश्वास रहा और आर्य महासम्मेलन अगले वर्ष के लिए निश्चित हो गया। श्री अमरचंद जी एरी के साथ आज हमारे मध्य नहीं हैं, तो मैं पुराने इतिहास को देख रहा था। अमरजी एरी के बारे में क्या भूलूं, क्या याद करूं, इतनी स्मृतियां हमारे जीवन में जुड़ी हुई हैं मेरी और अमरचंद जी एरी की। पिछले 28 या 29 वर्ष हमने अमेरिका और कनाडा के विविध स्थानों पर हमने सम्मेलन किया, आर्य महासम्मेलन किया और अमरचंद जी एरी, जो कि पहली सम्मेलन में आए थे डिट्रॉइट में 1991 में, और अपने साथ आनंद रूप नारायण, जो कि गयानीज ग्रुप को रिप्रेजेंट करते थे, दोनों साथ आए। उस समय ऐसा लग रहा था कि हमारे अमेरिका के लोग कुछ कम थे, लेकिन 90% लोग कनाडा से थे। अमरचंद जी एरी ने इतना हमें उत्साह दिया और अगले वर्षों जो हमने सम्मेलन किया, बिना चिट्ठी लिखे, बिना कुछ कहे, हर वर्ष वैदिक कल्चर सोसाइटी मार्कम का एड हमें मिल जाता था। अमरचंद जी एरी एक खुले दिल के, खुले दिमाग के, अपने सौम्य विचारों से हम सबको सदैव ही आकर्षित करते थे। उनके साथ मेरा मिलना, जब जब मैं कनाडा जाता था, एक मुझे इंस्ट्रक्शन कही थी कि गिरीश जी, भोजन आपने मेरे घर करने था। उनका इमीडिएट इनविटेशन मुझे मिलता था और मैं कुछ खाने पीने में मेरी खास रुचि होती थी। एक बार मैं उनके लेट गया, खाना खा के गया, तो अमरचंद जी ने पूछा कि क्यों आज लंच पे क्यों नहीं आए। तो मैंने डरते डरते बताया कि मुझे छोले भटूरे अच्छे लगते हैं, इसलिए मैं नहीं आया। अगली बार मैं टोरंटो गया तो अमरचंद जी एरी ने कहा आप 5 मिनट वेट करिए, और बड़े अच्छे छोले भटूरे उन्होंने अपने वहाँ एक हलवाई से मेरे लिए स्पेशल बनवाए और मुझे सारे परिवार को भोजन करवाया। अमरचंद जी एरी इतना ही प्यार करते थे, इतना आर्य समाज के बारे में उनको तड़प थी। किस तरह से उन्होंने वैदिक कल्चर सेंटर बनाया, जो कि अपने आप में एक महान भवन बना हुआ है। और जब भी हम जाते थे या अपने साथ किसी गेस्ट को लेके जाते थे तो अमरचंद जी दिखाते थे, एरी साहब बड़े प्यार से एक्सप्लेन करते थे, देखिए दोनों तरफ, एक तरफ वहाँ लाइब्रेरी थी और दूसरे कोने पे उनकी भोजनशाला थी। बताया करते थे कि संस्कृति, संस्कार और भोजन का एक संबंध जो कि होना चाहिए, और था बड़े अच्छे ढंग से। अमरचंद जी के बारे में क्या बताऊं, कितनी मेरी यादगारें जुड़ी हुई हैं। एक दिन उन्होंने मुझे फोन करके बुलाया और कहा कि कल आप आइए। आर्य समाज में गए, आर्य समाज में यज्ञ किया और उसके बाद एरी साहब मुझे ले गए एक ऐसे स्थान पे, हॉल में, जहां मैं एंटर हुआ तो मैंने देखा कि वहां सारे चाइनीज लोग थे। मैंने कहा एरी साहब, मुझे चीनियों से क्यों मिला रहे हो, मैं तो इनको हर जगह देखता हूं। पर थोड़ी देर में कार्यक्रम प्रारंभ हुआ और उन्होंने श्री एरी जी का और मेरा स्वागत किया। उसके बाद कार्यक्रम प्रारंभ हुआ चाइनीज का, और लगभग 3 घंटे तक हम वहाँ बैठे रहे। चाइनीज लोग इतने सुर में, इतने ताल में, इतने अच्छे तरह से बॉलीवुड के हिंदी गाने गा रहे थे। मैं हैरान रह गया कि सबसे पहले एक चाइनीज बुजुर्ग ने गाया, याद किया तुमने कहाँ हो, कहाँ है पुकार हो जहाँ हो। इतने अच्छे अच्छे गाने हमने हिंदी फिल्मों के सुने चाइनीज लोगों के मुंह से। तो अमरचंद जी एरी का टेस्ट इतना भारतीय था, इतना शुद्ध था। जितने दिन मैं रहा, अमरचंद जी एरी ने बहुत ही मेरे ढंग का मनोरंजन कराया। कभी वो रविवार शंकर के सितार कार्यक्रम में ले जाते थे, कभी किसी कवि सम्मेलन में ले जाते थे। मैंने उनके साथ बहुत अच्छा समय व्यतीत किया। एक बार, जैसा कि हर वर्ष आर्य समाज टोरंटो और टोरंटो आर्य समाज वाले दो अलग अलग संस्थाएं हैं, एक भारतीय मूल की है, एक गयाना मूल की है। तो वो हर साल गयाना के डॉक्टर सतीश प्रकाश जी को बुला के यज्ञ करवाते थे। एक कार्यक्रम में मैं भी वहां पहुंचा। मैं थोड़ा लेट हो गया था। जैसे ही मैं पहुंचा, उन्होंने मुझे स्टेज पे बुलाया और मैंने देखा कि सामने यज्ञ करने वालों में उनकी माताजी बैठी हैं। उनकी वृद्धा माताजी, जो कि सारे कार्य किया करती थी। मैं नीचे पहुंचा और जाके मैंने पहली बार माताजी को देखा। उनके पांव छुए, आशीर्वाद लिया। अमरचंद जी एरी इस बात से ही इतने द्रवित हो गए। उस दिन से मेरा और एरी साहब का एक नया बॉन्डेज पैदा हुआ। उनके घर में उनकी धर्मपत्नी सरोज जी एरी, जो कि इतने प्यारे महिला हैं, हमें लगता ही नहीं है कि हम बाहर से आए हैं। हम सीधे उनके घर चले जाते थे। हमें पूर्ण रूप से ऐसा घर का वातावरण लगता था। और कितनी खातिरदारी सरोज जी करती थी, कितना सरोज जी प्यार से लेती थी। उनकी बेटी गीता, जो कि स्कूल में पढ़ती थी, आती थी। गीता जैसी सुसंस्कृत लड़की मैंने अब तक नहीं देखी थी। बड़े प्यार से मिलती थी। कहने को तो और भी कहीं कितनी बातें अमरचंद जी एरी के बारे में मैं बता सकता हूँ। आई ऑलवेज मिस हिम, दैट ग्रेट श्री अमरजी एरी हमारे मध्य नहीं है। हमारी कभी उनकी बात नहीं हो पाएगी। आज मैं अपने भरे हृदय से अमरजी एरी को हार्दिक श्रद्धांजलि देता हूँ। अमर जी, आप इस संसार से चले गए हैं, लेकिन आपकी आकृति, आपका प्यार, आपका व्यवहार सदैव ही हमारे साथ रहेगा। मैं इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ उस महान पुरुष को हार्दिक श्रद्धांजलि दे रहा हूँ। ओम नमः। धन्यवाद।
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, as my father said, he was really like a family to us. I remember even last November, I think it was November of 2019, I was in the GTA area, and I would make sure I would call him, and he would take no excuse but invite me over, whether it be just for a coffee or lunch, dinner, whatever it is, always showering his blessings upon our family. You know, he had a very special relationship, not just within the Arya Samaj community, but the citizens of Markham, citizens of Ontario, Greater Toronto area. It is an honor and a privilege to have Mayor with us, Mayor Frank Scarpetti, who's with us. And I believe Mayor has known him for probably over 35 years or so, what I understand. And I just want to say one word, and then I'll turn it over to respected Mayor, is that, you know, when the news came to the City Hall, the flags of Ontario, Canada, and Markham were lowered for last 2 days, as I remember. And that is a great honor, not just for Shri Erry ji, but all of us who belong to the Arya community. So thank you, Mayor, for your presence. May I request you to speak?
Well, thank you very much, and namaste to everyone. It really is an honor to be here celebrating the life of a very special member of the Markham community. And I want to thank the Congress of the Arya Samaj in North America, President Bhuvnesh Khalsa, for the invitation to be here for this wonderful tribute and memorial for our dear friend Shri Amar Erry ji. And I also want to acknowledge Councillor Khalid Usman, who is also here as part of this memorial tribute to our friend. I want to let you know that we mourn this loss with all of you. I first met Amar Erry in the late 1980s during the initial planning of the Vedic Cultural Center. And I have to tell you, as a young man back then, I was impressed with his determination and commitment to build that space that would truly act as an anchor for our community, certainly for the Indo-Canadian community and people of the Hindu faith. The Vedic Cultural Center has graced our community with its beauty and prominence for many years. It truly is an incredible legacy to Amar Erry and everyone that worked with him. And we are forever grateful because of his vision and commitment to see the Vedic Cultural Center built. Amar, as you just said, was a special friend to many in our community. It didn't matter where you were from. It didn't matter the color of your skin. It didn't matter who you worshiped. Amar Erry was friend to all. He was an incredibly passionate and dedicated member of our community, a true leader who sat on many boards and committees over the many years. And it's a long list, but fair to say that he was very involved in the Canadian Federation of Intercultural Friendship, again, building bridges with many communities and cultures. He was on the board of the Taste of Asia, which celebrates, it's a major festival in our community, which celebrates the food, the culture, the heritage of the Asian and South Asian community. He contributed greatly to our community and to celebrating the diversity in Markham. And for those of you that have never been to our community, we're very proud to say that we are the most diverse community in all of Canada, and that is proven through the census. And I have to tell you, I don't think I can think of another person who has embraced, who's welcomed, who've made so many people, again, no matter where they came from in the world, to feel at home here in our city. And so I say today that we celebrate his wonderful accomplishments, his commitment to ensure that people felt that this was their home. And I can tell you that this tremendous effort and mission, I'll almost call it a vocation of Amar Erry to reach out to people of all backgrounds, was also recognized by the York Regional Police. Amar Erry was the recipient of the Deeds Speak Award because of his contributions to promoting inclusion and celebrating diversity, not just here in Markham, but as been said, throughout the Greater Toronto area, and indeed in many parts of Ontario as well. Every year, I have to tell you, as a member of the Indo-Canadian community, every year, Amar Erry would come to the Civic Center to proudly participate in the flag raising of the Indian flag. And he was always there, always orchestrating the event in his own quiet way. And of course, he was always there with his infectious smile. And I can tell you on that day, you would see the pride that he had of the Indian community and certainly his Indian culture. And in recent months, and if it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have celebrated this back in the summer of last year. But in recent months, I had wonderful conversations with Amar Erry as we discussed the dedication of a new street in the city of Markham, a street which has a major community center fronting onto that street, which will be called Mumbai Drive. Again, his pride of India and his pride of his community were truly evident throughout all of our discussions as we talked about what kind of celebration we were going to have. He was a respected member of our cultural community, and every day, I have to say, he sought opportunities to build a more inclusive society by building partnerships with individuals, with different faith groups, and most definitely with the various cultural groups that we have in our community. He participated in many, many interfaith discussions and helped bring about harmony and collaboration throughout our community. He was a model citizen, truly a model citizen. Any community would be proud to have had Amar Erry ji as part of their community. And he held in high esteem the ideals, the values of being Canadian, welcoming, understanding, and caring. I have to let you know that Amar's passing represents a great loss to our community. And yes, when we heard of his passing, I asked for the flags to be lowered at the Markham Civic Center in his memory and in his honor. And really, it's a small tribute to the man who was larger than life. On a personal note, I can tell you that I always respected his words of wisdom and his pieces of advice, and never underestimated Amar's ability to give advice and make his opinion known about something. But you know, he always did it in the spirit of who he was, a genuine, true gentleman. And so on behalf of the city of Markham, indeed our entire community, I want to express our sincerest condolences on the loss of Shri, Amarji. Our prayers and thoughts go out to his family, to his many friends in many countries, his spiritual followers, and certainly to the members of the Vedic Cultural Center. He was a person who symbolized love, who symbolized peace, who symbolized the best in humanity. He was the walking form, the human form of all those things. And so today, I have to tell you that we feel the emptiness. We feel the grief. And in our hearts, in the midst of these feelings, I also want to let you know that we celebrate this wonderful man, such a loving, decent, humble, and inspirational person who it was for each and every one of us a true honor to have known him. Rest in peace, Amar Erry Ji.
Thank you, Mayor, for the kind words. I agree, we all feel the emptiness, but we shall follow his path. And if we can all collectively do 1% of the work that he was able to do, I feel we would have made his dream come true. So thank you for your presence this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize one of our senior board members of Arya Patni Sabha America. He's a past president and one of the very dynamic people who was instrumental in bringing forward the idea of Arya Patni Sabha as well. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Rajinder Gandhi, who is amongst us from New Jersey.
Namaste to everybody. Shri Amar Erry was a leader of Vedic Center and Arya Samaj of Markham. I had the opportunity to meet him in 1992 at the second Arya Mahasammelan in Toronto. We became good friends, and in 1993, at Arya's Sammelan in Chicago, we worked with Dr. Sukhdev Soniji to create our program in Chicago. I have seen him many times, and he always remembered to call me on my birthdays, except for the last birthday. I knew he was not well. And I tried to call him sometime. I was one day late, but he was always calling me on my birthday in time. And he always talked to me about his dream of the future of Arya Samaj movement. It is our great loss to our Arya Samaj community, especially to his family and Markham Arya Samaj. We all need to learn the lesson from his life, especially what Mayor Frank Scapiti wrote. He said that he was a champion for diversity and inclusion. He was a leader in Indo-Canadian community and cornerstone of Hindu faith congregation in Markham. He was the recipient of Deed Speak Award from the York Regional Police for his contribution to promoting and celebrating diversity. As Mayor said, Markham Civic Center flags were lowered in his honor. He has left a great legacy for our Arya Samaj leaders and his family. We pray to our Parmeshwar to give peace to his Atman and courage to his family and friends to withstand the great loss we all suffer. Again, namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Gandhiji, for those kind words. I'll request Catholic priest Terry, Father Terry, who's amongst us, to say a few words in honor of Shri Erry.
Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I am very grateful for this privilege. I only learned 2 days ago that Amar had passed away, but I had been trying to see him and visit him and his family for the last year. But he was in hospital, and all I could do was pray for my friend. I am a Roman Catholic priest. I'm a Scarborough Mission priest, just south of Markham by the lake at the Scarborough Missions on Kingston Road in Brimley. And we had an event at our community because we were working, though we are Catholic priests and lay people, we were working in interfaith dialogue for the last 20 years. And I remember the first time we came to Arya Samaj, the Vedic Cultural Center, and had an event there. Amar came up to me and said he would like any time that our community wanted to have an interfaith gathering, that I didn't ask, he would arrange it. And so over the last 20 years, we had some 15 gatherings, sometimes including many of the Arya Samaj, but other times just Hindu from other traditions, Buddhist, Sikh, Jain, Zoroastrian, Baha'i, Protestant, Catholic, and indigenous peoples of our country. And anytime that Amar and the community were having a special gathering from someone who in India, a guru, especially Swamiji Vedabharati, who would come from Rishikesh and make his journey, many of us went to Aryan Samaj to be able to meet him, to listen to him. And once Amar said, "We are going to the airport to meet Swamiji Vedabharati, and we want you to come with us." And I was very touched because I had fallen in love with this great soul, Swamiji Vedabharati, but I had already recognized I was in the presence of a great, humble, quiet soul who did so much good. And so without going on at length, I want to congratulate, though, in this time of sadness, Mayor Scarpetti, who said he loved Amar as well. This man has been given a grace in our own Anglo community, Italian community, multicultural community, in being someone who welcomes Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Sikh, Filipino, all peoples in Markham. And this is my prayer, and this is my thanksgiving to my friend who used to at once a month, because of Erry's, because of Swamiji Vedabharati's request, that we multi-faith people gather. No more words, he said. No more words, just meditate. And so every month since then, on the full moon, we join with all others around the world who Swamiji asked to come together and meditate and pray. And at the end of that hour, Swamiji Amar Erry would lead us in that beautiful, ancient Hindu prayer. And then I would be asked to sing something in our tradition of Christianity. And this is what I want to say to you tonight and offer in the name of Amar Erry and in the name of his beloved Swamiji Veda Bharati. Hear, O Lord, the sound of my call. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy. My soul is longing for the glory of you. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy on dear Amar Erry. Hear, O Lord, the sound of our call. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy. Our souls are longing for the glory of you. Oh, hear, O Lord, and offer mercy and peace to Amar Erry. Come, Shanti.
Thank you, Father Terry, for that beautiful prayer. I'm sure the Lord heard us for the peace of Shri Amar Erryji's soul. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite the counselor Khalid Usmanji, who is also from Markham area.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste, brother.
After the mayor has spoken with such eloquence, it's difficult to follow him. But I know that Amar Erry, Shri Amar Erry, was such a personality that he had his mark everywhere. It was actually a great shock to hear the sad news, even though I knew he was in the hospital, but still couldn't believe it. We all grieve as we try to come to terms with his passing away, with mixed feelings. We're also very proud of him as he's meeting the Lord and receiving his blessings. My relationship with Shri Amar Erry was much more than a council member of the city of Markham. I felt that he was very close to me because I could easily communicate and talk to him, even though I am of Muslim faith. I am from Pakistan. He was a religious Hindu and from India, but we could actually talk on many issues relating to both communities and could take advice from him on certain issues when they came up within communities. So to me, that is just amazing that with his background, we were able to communicate and come to terms with the issues that were on hand. And as the mayor had said, my ward, our city especially, but my ward is the most multicultural, whereby all different communities live there. But I know that Shri Amar Erry, who was a religious giant, he was also a great visionary. People just loved him and respected him. You've heard today many people coming and talking about how great he was. And that's the interesting part, because everyone that I've heard today thinks he was their best friend, just like I feel that he was my best friend. That was his quality. Shri Amar Erry was a remarkable human being. He was not only a cultural, but a spiritual community leader. We consulted each other on many community issues. He was actually a community builder with a great vision. Through his selfless services, devotion, and relentless efforts, he transformed Arya Samaj into a highly respected center, and his vision and hard work culminated in the construction of Vedic Cultural Center. He leaves behind a great legacy which will be cherished for a long time by many. Shri Amar Erry was an amazing human being. He was a great friend and a great community leader. He will be missed by many. I will definitely miss him and his sound advice. He was a special person. You know, I remember, because the mayor has sort of alluded to the fact that every year we used to celebrate India National Day. And I remember calling him up the first time that we wanted to have Indian National Day, because we in Markham take pride in raising flags of all nations. So when I called him and I said, Shri Amarji, we have been raising flag of Pakistan for many and many years. I think you should do the same for India. And he said, what does it entail? I said, you just have to agree. I will help you. I will tell you how to do it. And it turned out a great event. And after that, of course, every year it has been happening under the leadership of Mayor Skarpedi. But that was the kind of leader he was. He was a leader that people will remember. People won't believe that he's no longer with us because he left his mark. I salute him because he was a great man. I know, I'll miss him. May his soul rest in peace and give enough strength to the family, the friends, and the fraternity of Arya Samaj to bear this great loss. We have lost a good friend and a great community leader. We all miss him. Due to COVID-19 restrictions on gatherings, we will not be able to join anybody as a group, but we will pray on our own so that his soul is elevated and enlightened. With his soul, rest in peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid, for those beautiful words. We are certainly all in disbelief that he's not with us, but his memories shall always be with us. Thank you for your time this evening. Thanks for joining us. Namaste. At this time, I'd like to request a gentleman who's joining us from New Delhi, India, Shri Vinay Aryaji. He is the Secretary of Delhi Aryapratni Sabha America and the Deputy Secretary of Sardeshik Aryapratni Sabha, the central body of global Arya Samajas. Shri Vinay ji, आपका स्वागत है.
शब्द बोलने बड़ा मुश्किल हैं श्री अमर एरी जी के इस निधन के इस शांति सभा के अवसर पर। मैं आभारी रहूंगा मेयर साहब का, क्योंकि मैंने जब ज्वाइन किया तो उस समय वो बोल रहे थे और उनके शब्दों के अंदर और उनके अंदर से आने वाली आवाज में जो एक दर्द था, मैं समझता हूं कि श्री अमर एरी जी के जीवन की व्याख्या करने के लिए वो पर्याप्त है। उससे अधिक के शब्दों की आवश्यकता शायद हम में से किसी को भी शायद ना हो। अमर एरी जी ने जिस शानदार जीवन को जिया, जिन उपलब्धियों तक वो पहुंचे, जिन ऊंचाइयों तक वो स्वयं पहुंचे, और उन्होंने अपनी कम्युनिटी को, विशेषकर मैं कहूंगा तो आर्य समाज को, जिन ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचाया और पूरी दुनिया के साथ में जो एक संबंध का दायरा तैयार किया था, वो एक किसी के लिए भी एक आदर्श का प्रतीक हो सकता है। मेरा उनसे निजी संबंध रहा, लंबे समय से रहा, अमेरिका में आने जाने के कारण से भी और उनकी लगातार फोन पर बातचीत के माध्यम से भी रहा। अभी गांधी जी ने बताया कि जन्मदिवस के अवसर पर फोन किया करते थे। ये छोटी बात नहीं है, लगातार किसी व्यक्ति के साथ अपने संबंधों को बनाए रखना। तो अगर मैं उनके निजी जीवन की बात करूं तो कभी ये जानने की आवश्यकता ही नहीं पड़ी कि वो एक्चुअली करते क्या थे, क्योंकि उनसे जब भी बात हुई सिवाय आर्य समाज के कोई प्लेटफॉर्म ही नहीं था उनकी बातचीत के दौर का। मैं इससे अधिक क्या कहूं, हम में से कोई भी तो नहीं चाहता था कि वो हमसे अलग होकर के चले जाएं। चाहे आयु उनकी 82 वर्ष थी, 82 ईयर्स उनकी आयु थी, कुछ समय तक वह स्वस्थ रहे। हम सभी ने प्रार्थना भी की, प्रयास भी किया कि हम सभी के बीच में रहें। लेकिन मैं इस अवसर पर एक तो बात कह सकता हूं, अब तक वो अपने शरीर से जीवित थे। उनको पहचान के लिए, परिचय के लिए मेरी और आपकी आवश्यकता नहीं थी, अब भी नहीं है। लेकिन जितना बड़ा दायरा उन्होंने तैयार किया था, अभी मैं मेयर साहब की बात के बाद में जो फादर साहब ने अपनी बातों को रखा और उसके पश्चात में हमारे माननीय काउंसलर साहब ने अपनी बात को रखा, उनको मैंने बड़ी ध्यान से सुना है और उनसे उनके जीवन के इतने सारे पहलुओं से मैं आज पहली बार परिचित हुआ हूं। मैं सोचता था कि उनके बारे में मैं बहुत कुछ जानता हूं, पर मेरी कहीं ना कहीं गलती थी। आज इस शांति सभा में बैठ करके जो मैंने उनके बारे में जाना है, मैं समझता हूं उनका व्यक्तित्व तो बहुत विशाल था। और अभी तक के आर्य समाज के जिन कार्यकर्ताओं का निधन हुआ है, मैं समझता हूं इस प्रकार की श्रद्धांजलि, माननीय मेयर साहब ने कहा कि ध्वज नीचे रहेंगे उनके सम्मान में, और ये बहुत छोटी श्रद्धांजलि है। मैं समझता हूं कि ये छोटी श्रद्धांजलि तो है, लेकिन एक कार्यकर्ता के लिए, क्योंकि उन्होंने कोई बहुत बड़े पदों को हासिल नहीं किया था राजनीतिक रूप से, लेकिन एक कार्यकर्ता के कार्य को इतना ज्यादा सम्मान देना, इतना बड़ा सम्मान देना, मैं समझता हूं हम सबके लिए भी गौरव की बात है। तो मैं और ज्यादा कुछ ना कहता हुआ, आर्य समाज का कल्चरल सेंटर, वैदिक कल्चरल सेंटर अपने आप में अमर एरी जी की पहचान युगों युगों तक हम सबको कराता रहेगा। लेकिन मैं भाई संजीव जी जो उनके सुपुत्र हैं और उनके सारे परिवार, माननीय सरोज जी, और मैं ये कहूंगा कि केवल संजीव ही क्यों, माननीय भाई भुवनेश जी और विश्वजीत जी जैसे कार्यकर्ता भी उनके पुत्र समान ही हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने अपने में और उनमें कभी फर्क माना ही नहीं, भेद माना ही नहीं। मुझे जहां दिल्ली में बैठ के इतना प्यार मिलता रहा, और कुछ ही समय पहले जब मुझे टोरंटो जाने का अवसर मिला पहली बार, और उनसे मिलने का, विशेष रूप से टोरंटो में मिलने का, तो वो जो उनके अंदर आर्य समाज के प्रति मैंने डेडिकेशन देखी थी, वो उससे पहले जितनी लगती थी उससे कहीं अधिक मैंने उस समय देखी। अन्य शब्दों के साथ मैं कहूंगा कि अब वो चाहे अपने शरीर से जीवित ना हो, लेकिन हम में और आप में, संजीव जी, विश्व जी और भुवनेश जी और उन सब कार्यकर्ताओं में जो आर्य समाज की पृष्ठभूमि के हैं और उनका कार्यों को आगे बढ़ाने में निरंतर लगे हुए हैं, उनमें हम हमेशा अमर एरी जी को देखते रहें। ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है, और इस जिम्मेदारी को अगर हम पूरा कर सके तो उनके प्रति जो आज हम श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित कर रहे हैं वो हम पूरी तरह से कर सकेंगे। मैं अधिक समय न लेता हुआ, मैं सार्वदेशिक आर्य सभा की ओर से माननीय सुरेश चंद्र आर्य जी, प्रधान सार्वदेशिक सभा की ओर से, भाई प्रकाश आर्य जी की ओर से, और दिल्ली आर्य सभा की, दिल्ली की समस्त आर्य समाजों की ओर से, विशेषकर दिल्ली से उनका बड़ा गहरा ताल्लुक रहा हमेशा से, पंजाब से, दिल्ली से, विशेषकर बंबई से भी, उन सभी की ओर से मैं उनके चरणों में श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। और इतना एक अनुरोध जरूर कर सकता हूं मैं आपसे कि उनके स्मृति में अगर हम कोई इस प्रकार के कार्यकर्ता के लिए कुछ पुरस्कार आरंभ कर सकें कनाडा में, तो एक मैं समझता हूं, और एक निरंतर उनको श्रद्धांजलि रहेगी। हमारे भाई गिरीश जी ने जिस पौधे को लगाया था उसको उन्होंने आगे बढ़ाने में, निरंतर सिंचित करने में जो योगदान दिया, उसको हम हमेशा स्मरण रखेंगे। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ में उनके चरणों में पुनः श्रद्धांजलि और परिवार के प्रति हार्दिक संवेदनाएं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार श्री विनय जी। मुझे याद है कुछ 2 साल पहले जब आप मेरे साथ कनाडा गए थे और श्री अमर एरी जी के साथ कितनी हमारी मेमोरीज जुड़ी हुई हैं। उस दिन मैं चित्र देख रहा था, आपसे भी शेयर करूंगा। तो बिल्कुल आपकी बात सही है कि हमें एकदम अपने बेटे की तरह मानते थे और हमेशा कार्य करने की प्रेरणा देते थे। आप सुबह सुबह हमारे साथ जुड़े, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद भ्राता जी, धन्यवाद आपका। Amongst us at this point, we have Councillor Joe Lee, who is also from the Markham area. And I'd like to request Mr. Joe Lee to give tributes to Shri Erry ji.
Good evening. This is Regional Councillor Jolie. First and foremost, my deepest condolence to the Erry family who lost a great husband, father, and leader in the community. I first came to Mr. Erry more than 10, 15 years ago. He was the second Indian leader in GTA that called me Joe Bai, because the reason we left India, and we have about 20,000 Chinese community coming from Calcutta, India. So some of them have video memory about what's happened in the 1962 war. So, like when I run across Mr. Erry, he convinced me, we have to be peaceful. We have to move beyond hatred and move forward to start building the friendship. So with that in mind, he became my mentor, and we created the new Canadian diversity celebration that every year that me and Shri, Amarji co-founded this foundation, the concert, to bring 10 Chinese from India and 10 Indian local singers together. We try to sing the Indian Bollywood songs. So this is the moment that we're able to bring the Chinese Indian community together with the Indian South Asian community. So I was particularly touched, especially in the past 10 years associated with him running this cultural festival. He was a very simple man. Deep in his heart, he only think about friendship. And I have learned a great deal from him, able to move beyond, about the past and thinking about the future. So with him, not only I'm able to perfect to speak some word of Hindi. I used to joke, when I was visited India, with my mayor in those days, run across the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, the current Prime Minister, Modi ji, Saab, you used to ask me, Mr. Lee, where you from? So I kindly told him, in Hindi, हो सकता है मेरा मुख देखने से चीना है, लेकिन कभी सोचा है मेरा दिल हिंदुस्तानी है. So I can say a few words because over the year, able to communicate with Mr. Erry, able to improve my Hindi proficiency. Mr. Erry, a couple of months ago when I heard the first time he was sick, unfortunately, we are unable to visit him. But I used to meet him at least once every quarter, just to keep in touch, just to prepare for next year event. We have a strong relationship, like my colleague Khalid Usman was talking about the India Day celebration. That was the first time he invited me whether I will be able to sing the Indian national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. So I didn't sing Jana Gana for 40 years, more than 40 years since I left my high school in India. So it was that pressure, Mr. Erry gave me the chance to sing the Indian national anthem. So when I came down for that podium, I feel immensely proud to feel like I'm back to India again. Feel like I am, behave like an Indian. So today, I feel deeply honored to miss a great friend, which I consider a great brother. I call him Mera Bhai. So I have losing my word to say any more thing, but all I can say is, Mr. Erry, you're a great leader. You will be forever missed by our community. Hope you soul you rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor, for those kind words. You know, Mr. Erry, by profession, I remember, was a teacher. And I think you just proved that he never really left his profession. He might have stopped teaching the students at the high school, but he taught us the message of peace, the message of community building. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your kind words. At this time, I'd like to request Shri Vishwat Aryaji, who is the General Secretary and past President of Arya Pratni Sabha America, to address us.
Namaste, everyone. So far, we have been hearing from many people who have been close associates of Shri Erry ji. Of course, were inspired by his life, by his wisdom, by his leadership, and by his great nature and behavior. I'm probably his next generation who does not have that long of a working association with him, but whatever association I had, it was of a great quality. I think I met him around 10 to 12 years back, and there are a few things that I admired very much about him. One thing is his empathy and the love in which he would address us. And it's very unique way he used to address me. So whenever I call him, he said, Namaste Vishrut, kya hal hai Raje? So you know what's Raje? It's like addressing your child as king. And I used to feel so great talking to him every time. Namaste Vishrut, kya hal hai Raje? Half of the stress is just gone. And anytime I have called him, inspired me, supported me, guided me, gave me many ideas whenever I felt I was in distress or I was needing some support. Mr. Erry, fearless ideas he had always for me. And after talking, anytime I'll call him, it will be like 30-45 minutes every 2 months is what our afternoon time was for our talk. And so that was a personal rapport and learnings I got from him about Arya Samaj, the organization, the future, the current state, the global state of Arya Samaj, so many things. Unforgettable. No one else called me, Namaste Vishrut, kya hal hai Raje? And it's just, I cherish that every moment. Beyond than that, he was a great extempore speaker and had a deep understanding of the Vedic principles. He was just not a speaker. You know, he's talking with authority, with great flow, and he has ability to convey a very tough message in a very humorous manner. I have heard it few times, tough words, but in very easy manner. So, you know, can't miss his, I mean, we miss his support. I miss his empathetic words. I miss his guidance. And I think of just one line, काम नेकी के जो कर गए उनकी रोशन कहानी बनेगी यूं तो मरते हैं लाखों यहाँ कायरों की तरह आदमी यूं तो मरते हैं लाखों यहाँ कायरों की तरह आदमी धर्म जाति पे जो मर गए उनकी रोशन कहानी बनेगी. So we pledge that we will make his kahani roshan by continuing following his guidance. His path is how I want to pay tribute to Shri Erry ji and our own sympathies to his family, Sanjeev ji, Saroj aunty, and all others in the family. With that said, I want to invite another distinguished personality, Revered Zenji Neo, who is the motivational expert and founder of the Sempo Center for Human Rights and Holocaust Remembrance. We appreciate your presence and we request you to pay your tributes to Mr. Erry. Do we have him?
Vishwaji, I don't see him. Can you see if you...
Okay, I think I saw the message, but we can move to the next one. By the time we bring him on, requesting another close associate, the pillar of the Arya Samaj in North America, the founding member of the Waves, and the founding trustee of the Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple, the Vedic scholar, author, philanthropist based in Atlanta, Dr. Dinbandhu Chandora ji, to please come and share with us his memories with Shri Amar Erry ji. Dr. Dinbandhu Chandora from Atlanta. Dr. Chandora, please. Just need to be unmuted, I guess. Yep.
Namaste ji everyone. I have been quietly thinking about the things what I learned from Amar Erry ji. As everybody has said, he is such a great person. He has a mesmerizing personality. He would talk in a way as if you are really talking to a great friend. Not only he is a teacher to someone whom he has no association, but still the way of presentation is such that he wins the heart of everyone. According to Vedas, it says Manur Bhav. He was a living example of Nishkam and selfless service to the mankind. I had on 2 occasions. He came once to Atlanta, and even though I invited many great people, he was the first person who refused to accept the travel money from me for coming to Atlanta his own expense. And also, on other times, he gave me the secret of how to relate to others rather than giving negativistic approach. Always have a positivistic approach, so that wins the heart of the person as well as the mind, and very pleasantly things are done in a very accommodating way. He says if Arya Samaj is to live in this world, they need to spread the teachings of Vedas, which is for universal, for every human, applicable to all the places, irrespective of the age, sex, as well as the race and the religion, because those are the eternal universal principles for the benefit of mankind. And I incorporated that teaching in many of my books. So I am really grateful to him, and I celebrate his teachings in my life. I don't miss him because he has a place in my heart. And so also, he is in the heart of so many other people. And I hope we need to continue to have his path, that is selfless service to mankind. And I hope we continue further for the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandora ji, for your sharing your memories with him and paying tributes to Shri Erry ji. Now we have the privilege of having Reverend Senji Neoji, who is the motivational expert and founder of the Sempo Center for Human Rights. We request him for his words of wisdom and his tributes for Erry ji.
Namaste. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Namaste. बहुत धन्यवाद मेरे दोस्तों, मेरे मित्रों, मेरे साथियों, भाइयों और बहनों. मेरा नाम आचार्य ज़ेंजी नियो है और श्री अमरजी मेरा कल्याण मित्र की तरफ था. I'm very blessed that oftentimes I'm called to speak on behalf of the Buddhist community at various important events around the world. But today I'm not going to speak in a professional capacity or a public capacity. I'm going to speak in a personal capacity, and I'm going to explain to you who I believe Amar Erry was, particularly behind the scenes. At the very onset, I'd like to convey my sincerest condolences and my heartfelt sympathies to his family, his friends, his followers, his congregants, and his community at large. It is very difficult to fill the shoes of someone like Shri Amar Erry. I'm very blessed that oftentimes I'm called to speak at various events for the Indian diaspora, be it the official Indian Independence Day celebration, or be it multi-million-dollar charities to empower the poor and underprivileged children of India. And every time I'd appear or speak at such an event, I'd always get an email from Amarji. Congratulations, keep up the good work, you make me proud. The first time I met Amarji was when he was channeling Nishkama Karma Yoga in true form. He was upholding the motto, Lok Seva Hi Param Dharma. He was organizing and giving his support to important events that dealt with mental health awareness, a cause that really means a lot to me. And it was at that particular event that I met Mayor Scarpitti. And I met Mayor Scarpitti a few times at such events, if you recall, Mayor. I'm so happy that you're here and you spoke from the heart, and it's been such an honor and pleasure to share this experience with you and share the memories we both have of Amarji together, both in the past, in the present, and when we meet next again. At that time, along with Mayor Scarpitti, there was also a cabinet minister who went on to become the ambassador of a major country. So he walked up to me and said, "You're such a good speaker." And I said, "You cannot compliment someone like me when you have someone of Amar Erry's stature in the vicinity." And so he says, "That's true. Amar Erry is not just a gem of the Indian community, he is a gem of the wider Canadian community." Amarji winked at me and said, "I'll get you back." So a few years later, again, Amarji and I had the pleasure and the privilege of speaking together at an important event. The former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada was in attendance, as were various scholars from the University of Toronto and elsewhere. This particular event enabled Canada to win an award from the United Nations. So it was quite a big deal. And each of us was independently and individually also honored. So when an honor was given to Shri Amar Erry, he says from the dais, "Why are you giving this to me? You should be giving this to Zenji. Don't give it to me. Give it to him. We want to empower the next generation." This shows the degree of humility, the degree of grace, the degree of class, the degree of erudition that Amar Erry personified. There are many people who need titles. There are many people who need to throw their weight around. Amar Erry could win over a room in the most gentle, easygoing manner imaginable. Another very important theme here is the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. A lot of people brandish this phrase. Amar Erry lived by it. Amar Erry was a very staunch Hindu. I'm a very staunch Buddhist. And yet we would spend a lot of time in profound discussions about how we can strengthen Bharatiya Sanskriti, how we can pass on the great legacy of Indic civilization to the next generation, how we can go forward and make this world a better place for all beings. Every time he'd see me at some event, he'd grab my hand and say, "Chalo beta, let's go." and he'd talk and he'd share his vision with me. So to honor him today, I think is very important for us to continue his mission and to strive to fulfill his vision. Among the key issues we would discuss, one was the need for us to uphold Bharatiya Sanskriti, which means Indic civilization, the great civilization of India, and to be ambassadors for our faiths. He was the consummate ambassador for the Hindu community. Another very important theme that we talk about is the need for us to reflect light amidst all this darkness that today is engulfing the world. The concept of us being like diyas where we light up the world around us. He also wanted us all to really embody the concept of the world being one family, where all of us, despite our differences, can agree to disagree and yet move on for the collective good. So I hope that today and hereafter, while we keep Amar Erry in our thoughts, in our prayers, and forever in our heart, I hope we can also reflect on that kind of nishkama karma that would make Amarji proud. And I'd like to end with a simple prayer in the Buddhist tradition, which is very popular at Nalanda University, the world's foremost university, which means a great deal to every single member of the Indian community. Namo Amitabha Buddhaya Amotassadata Amideva Hari Om Amritatachavati Swaha. Namo Amitabha Buddhaya Amotassadata Amideva Hari Om Amritatachavati Swaha. Namo Amitabha Buddhaya Amotassadata Amideva Hari Om Amritatachavati Swaha. May Amarji find moksha in the afterlife. May he blend with the light, and may all of us continue to do his karma, live up to his legacy, and make him proud. Amitabha.
Thank you, Acharya Ranjitji. Appreciate your words of wisdom. Next, I'm going to invite Mr. Chandra Khanna. But before I do that, I have a humble request to all of you. We have around 15 more speakers left because we are trying to give representation to every Arya Samaj and organization. And I know we are running late. You all can help contribute to complete the program sooner than we can by limiting your words to maximum 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. That will be it. And I know we can talk about him on and on. Even I can talk many other incidences as well, other memories that I have. But I'm requesting that in the interest of everyone's time, and so that we can conclude on time, at the same time give the opportunity to everyone, let's please limit from 2 to 3 minutes. Now requesting Shri Chandra Khanna ji, who is a long-term associate, a close friend of Shri Amar Erry ji. He's the director of the Toronto Area Interfaith Council and former vice chairman of the Parliament of World's Religious Toronto 2018 conference. Mr. Chandra Khanna ji, please.
Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Namaste. I bow to the divinity and everyone in this gathering, so beautifully, graciously arranged by the Arya Pratinidhi Sabha America, as a memory, as a memorial to Amarji's memory. Vishwaji's point is well taken. We have to be brief, so I will at this stage only speak as Father Terry Gallagher suggested and Zenji suggested, only in those personal matters which were endearing. Amarji never ever dreamt that he would leave a legacy in the sense of the word legacy that's used. However, having said that, I think in my personal capacity, I think one of his lasting contribution would be to fulfill the wishes of people about 30 years ago to create a center as a memory, as a legacy, the memory of the rishis. And he endeared the collaboration with Shri Anand Rupnarayan, his trust, his affection, his ability to mobilize a partnership with the Guyanese community to build this monument, this edifice as a memory to the, as a tribute to the memory of the rishis. And as a result of that, the outpouring of support that came in, for the first time ever, the government of Ontario gave a grant of $1 million to a non-mainstream faith community, soon followed by the Royal Bank of Canada giving a loan of $1 million. And going back to the notion of Amarji's whole life being spent tan man dhan to promote the 10 principles as enunciated by Swami Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati. At second level, the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, but also the macro level, humanity at large. So the notion, the very basic concept of Hindu, of the Sanatana Vedic Dharma, Ekam Sat Viprada Bhavata Vedanti, Ekam Bijam Bhavata Yakroti Tamathamastami Pashanti Dhira, Eko Deva Sarva Bhutesha Guda. Amarji, as everybody has suggested so far and indicated so far, under his netrutra, we had people for the telegalaga said last 14 years, people from all faith traditions meet every full moon meditation, people of all faith traditions in that concept and the notion of the basic concept tenet of the Hindu Dharma. Now, at a personal level, I also should point out, as many have said before, I would like to read at this stage, but Amarji had this thing, when he would see someone, his eyes would light up. It's as if you have made brighten his day, as everybody has said so far. And he did have one affliction, not spondylitis, arthritis, but the opposite of laryngitis, microphonitis. If Amarji, when he got hold of a microphone, it was very difficult to get away from him. However, he hardly ever used the microphone to promote himself, as NG has very graciously said. All the time he would use the microphone would be to elevate others, promote others, and make the others be seen and promoted, and so on and so forth. I received 2 letters I must read at this time. One is from Frida Besaneji, a Zoroastrian friend of ours, and she says this. She says, "Dear Chandraji, when I got this message, I was deeply saddened. He was always smiling and hugging me with open arms, always making sure I had my bhojan, and always inquired with Dara, my husband, whom he had met very briefly 15, 20 years ago, but he remembered. When I had heard him giving a eulogy of somebody who had passed away, I was so taken and so moved, I asked him to make sure that he would give mine too, that he give my eulogy too." Amarji smiled and said, "Hey Bhagwan, आप तो मेरे से इतनी छोटी है, मैं तो आपको पहले चला जाऊंगा." So I said, "नहीं Amarji, I will live up to 100, but you will have to live beyond 100. And that was Farida Besaneji. The other one a bit more somber, from Mehtab Inateji, who's also along with us, joining us. Mehtab Inateji is of Persian descent, and she sent a message yesterday. "I was in the middle of a powerful practice when my cell phone beeped. I got the news. I got chills all over, and something squeezed my heart. Writing in tears, and so sad to hear this, may he travel far in light. I loved him daily like my own father. Please express my condolences to lovely wife Saroji." And then she said, "It was the first quarter of the full moon yesterday, and I have a feeling that his soul chose a powerful portal for the next stage." So these are the private moments of Amarji. Anecdotes abound, but I would like to end by saying to the 2 ladies, his late mother, Mataji, jinki कोख से इन्होंने जन्म लिया, and Saroji, who has given him such strong support throughout his life, that without her unconditional support, Amarji would not have achieved the same sense of fulfilling his potential as he did. And also, of course, the Rajivji, Sanjeevji, and Giraji, thank you for sharing your precious dad with us. I'd like to conclude with just one item and with just one shloka from the Kathopanishad. Of course, we all know that. Najayate mrete bhavupaschet naim kutaschin bhuva kaschet ajo nitya shashvato yam purana hanitya hanyamana sharire. However, a bit more fitting is from the Manduka Upanishad. Gata, the same principle where the body is left behind, but the Atman, Jivatman, goes in the front for temporarily uniting with the ultimate reality. So I would like to say that very briefly. Gataha Kalaha पंचदशं प्रतिष्ठा देवाश्च सर्वे प्रतिदेवतासु कर्माणि विज्ञानमयुश्च आत्मा कर्माणि विज्ञानमयुश्च आत्मा परे व्यये सर्वतीकी क्रमन्ति यथा नद्य सैन्दमाना समुद्रे अस्थं गच्छन्ति नामरूपे विहाय तथा विद्वान् नामरूपा विमुक्तः तथा विद्वान् नामरूपा विमुक्तः परात् परं पुरुषमुपैच दिव्यम्.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Next, I'm requesting past president of Aryapratin Sabha America, very esteemed member of Arya Samaj of Greater Houston, the member emeritus of Aryapratin Sabha America, Shri Mahajanji, to pay his tributes. Yeah, Devji, we can hear you now.
Vishwaji, thanks, and I promise you I'll be very brief. On behalf of the Arya Parivar of Arya Samaj Greater Houston, I want to express our deep condolences to his wife, Shrimati Saroj Erry, and the rest of his family members. It is indeed a huge loss. Mr. Amar Erry was a great, dedicated Arya Samaj leader, Vedic missionary, and true disciple of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. We will all miss him dearly. Under his leadership, the first Arya Samaj was built from scratch with a unique architecture in North America. This building has 4 pillars in the interior court and 10 in the exterior court, representing 4 Vedas and 10 Upanishads, respectively. I had the opportunity to meet him only once when I attended Apsa Sammelan in Markham, Canada. Indeed, he was a great administrator, scholar, and an orator. He could perform Havan and all sanskar. That is why many called him very fondly Panditji. He had such a warm personality, and I always enjoyed talking to him. He admired the Arya Samaj Houston and its 2 schools, DAV Sanskriti School and DAV Montessori School. I invited him so many times to visit Houston. Unfortunately, because of his fear for flying, prevented him to do so. No doubt, Amarji has left us for heavenly abode, but his legacy will live on. May his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti Shanti.
Thank you very much, respected Dev Mahajanji, for concluding your tributes in within 3 minutes. Appreciate it very much. Next, I'm requesting Shri Anand Rup Narayanji, long-term associate chairman of the VCC Vedic Culture Center and former president of Toronto Arya Samaj. Shri Anand Rup Narayanji.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, of course, I'll be very short. Namaste to all the listeners, and in particular, the family of Amarji. First of all, let me take the opportunity to express our deepest sympathy and condolences to Shirin, Sanjeev, Sam, sorry, Rajiv, Sam, and Geeta, and of course his lovely wife Saroj, and all his siblings. I became part of Amarji. I would say he was my soul brother, going back since 1976. When I met him at a function, immediately he had that magnetic personality. He draw me to him, and since then we talk almost every day. He realized I came from the Caribbean. He wanted us to join to build the Vedic Cultural Center. We worked hard on it, and at the end of it, it was a great success. My dear friends, I could go on speaking in volumes about Amarji, but I'm still, like many others, choke with emotions. My heart is in sorrow. My heart is still, my soul is in distress. We are still in tears, knowing that our greatest leader, our man of brilliant scholar, a genius in many, many ways. He was the star of the Vedic Center. He was a shining star. And my friends, that light is now extinguished. I do not know whether I can go back there, because with him and I, we sit together, we eat together, we, excuse me, we converse in almost on a daily basis. But I will miss him. Many others will miss him, especially my Gani community, who idolize him, and he respects everyone. He was full of love and sweetness and kindness to one and all. There is very few people like Amarji. I don't know what is to say. I have to close by wishing his family our deepest condolences again. Thank you.
Before I
No
invite,
battery here.
thank you. Before I invite the next speaker, I want to recognize some of the messages that were received for Shri Amar Erry ji. We are not going to read the details, but we are just recognizing the organization names from which we have received. So from Aripatni Sabha South Africa, Ben Lekha Jadoo ji, General Secretary, she had sent out. Then Shri Suren Mahabali ji, who is from Aripatni Sabha of the Netherlands, he had sent out condolence messages. Guru Virjanand Gurukul from district Kartarpur in Punjab had sent out a note because Shri Erry ji was very close to that Gurukul. Shri Ashok Arya, the acting president of Satyarth Prakash Nyas, Udaipur, Rajasthan, has sent a note as well. Shri Haridev Ramdhani ji from Aripatni Sabha of Mauritius has sent out a note as well. And of course, our own dear Dr. Soni ji, who is the president of Arya Samaj Chicagoland. When I spoke to him today, he says, I will not be able to speak, but just convey that Shri Erry ji was very dear to me. We used to talk a few times every week, and both of them have taken the Arya Samaj to next level, starting from the scratch. So Dr. Soni ji, who is sitting in this meeting today, he says, I dearly miss him, and I will continue to revere his relationship with me, and I'll cherish all the moments that I spent with him. With that said, I'm going to invite another past president of Aripatni Sabha America, the esteemed member of Om Temple, New Jersey, the Vedic scholar, Dr. Ramesh Gupta, please. Dr. Ramesh. Need to unmute him, sir, probably.
Okay. Namaste. Extremely emotional gathering, moving gathering, so many international honored people have spoken so much. It's very difficult to say much more about him, but lot can be said. He was bigger than life. He was able to perform, fulfill the dream of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Today is not the day of mourn in that sense. Everyone has to go sometime. It is the time to celebrate. It is the time which has given impetus. It has given extreme encouragement to those who are providing selfless service. Sometimes we get disappointed that why am I doing this? But Shri Amar Erry ji is a clear example. I have had many, many interactions with him, as most of you had. And every time the sweet voice, the positiveness I have seen all these years. So what we need, why are we here today? To learn selfless service, his vision, his togetherness, and preserve and propagate the Vedic culture among adults and children, not only of Hindu faith, but all the faiths, politicians, everyone that exists. So very few leaders, rare soul, and I don't know how we are going to be able to fulfill his deficiency. I will close by saying when Rishi Balmik ji was looking to write a book, Balmik Ramayana, he was looking for, he asked Narad ji, I am looking for a person who is perfect, a perfect human being with humility, with love, with bravery, energy, enthusiasm, all those qualities. The Narad ji said there is only one and only one Shri Ram. So if we look at the Arya Samaj, we have lost a person of a very high magnitude. I don't know how we are going to be able to fulfill his dream, but let's come together, come forward, all of us, and keep moving and give impetus to the Arya Samaj. And again, I thank Vishrutji and Bhuvneshji and the leadership for arranging this very, very moving tribute to Shri Amarji. Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Namaste. And I want to say that I represent, of course, the Om Temple and I represent the Sabha and Arya Samaj of New Jersey as well, all of them. And Amita has expressed the similar feelings and asked me to say that.
Bhuvneshi, you want to please take on?
Vishnuji, I'm just having a technical issue here. If you could continue just for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta ji, and I appreciate you concluding within the time as we are waiting for around 10 more speakers. Next, I'm going to request Shri Harris Ramroopji, who is the president of Toronto Arya Samaj. Mr. Ramroopji, please. Let me see if I can unmute you. 1 minute. I'm not sure by which name he's on, Mr. Ramroopji. Okay, I'll move to the next one. Next one is Mrs. Sneh Sachdev. She's the acting president of Arya Samaj Markham. Mrs. Sneh Sachdev ji, over to you, please. 1 second, let me unmute. जी
नमस्ते एवरीवन, नमस्ते आर्य बंधु। हम अपने प्रधान जी को सिर्फ अपने रूप में ही सिर्फ देखते रहे कि हमारे प्रधान जी हैं, उन्होंने क्या कुछ किया है समाज के लिए और क्या नहीं किया। लेकिन आज आंखें खुल गई हैं ये देखकर कि जो हमारे प्रधान जी थे वो सिर्फ हमारे लिए ही नहीं थे प्रधान जी, he was प्रधान जी everywhere. It's unbelievable what we have been listening. हम लोग आपके लिए आपके आगे सिर झुकाते हैं कि आप लोगों ने इतना कुछ प्रधान जी के बारे में बोल दिया है कि अब समझ आ गई कि वो क्या क्या उनकी हस्ती क्या थी, एक उच्च हस्ती के वो थे। So anyway, ये मेरे दो अक्षर अपनी तरफ से निकले हैं, लेकिन now I must say that I stand here before all of you on behalf of our board of directors and ASM members at large, to express my profound sorrow and condolences to Mrs. Saroj Erry on the death of Shri Amarji Erry. Erry ji was a world-renowned leader of Arya Samaj movement. He was well known in India for his work, for the growth of the Samaj in India. Since his arrival here, he contributed to the work of mankind and expansion of Arya Samaj Prachar in Ontario. He became the president of Arya Samaj in early 80s. He was a person with great qualities. His qualities तो इतनी बताई गई हैं, दो चार मैं बोल देती हूँ, लेकिन I can hear there's so many things that everybody has said, and there's no doubt about that. He was a greater speaker, both in English and Hindi. He was an educator and a leader. He had ability to rationalize and show a balance among different thoughts. He was very articulate in his approach and was in situation able to project policies and enhance collectiveness. In early days, he was also our preacher, and he led the community both at local level and with the government. He had special ability to strike a balance among people. As the head of the community, he was able to guide and steer the community towards enhancement planning. Over the years, he was able to provide leadership, raised lots of some money here to be able to persuade government resources for the collection of funds. This quality was responsible for the growth of Arya Samaj and establishment of Paddy Culture Center at the cost of $4 million. Mr. Erry was instrumental in getting Arya Samaj Markham and Toronto Arya Samaj to be together as sister organizations. And I'm so proud to let everyone know this thing. Yes, we, both Samajes, are working together, and we would like to continue like this of years to come back. This is what we have preached from, this is what we have got from our president. His passion was not only just that आर्य समाज में डेली संडे सत्संग क्या है, वो तो था ही, that was there. लेकिन what is happening here now is that his passion was youth, children, camp, seniors, interfaith, and scholarship, you name it. So with that, all our programs, whatever we have at Arya Samaj now, was his passion. And we are having all this right now that we are going on with different committees that we are working on them. The other thing that was in his mind was always, that was, kahin bhi koi zarurat pade, Arya Samaj should stand first. Earthquake, money has to go there. Tsunami, money has to go there. It's the college schools, the money has to go there. So things like that, that we will say that Mr. Erry, our Pradhanji, his vision was not a small one. His vision was a big vision here. And this is where we stand for. And the path that he has left for us, I think his legacy is there, And now we all have to get together to follow that and do the different things. So Arya Samaj Markham has lost such a magnificent and dedicated leader of the community. Today, I stand before you to pay homage and to extend heartbreaking condolences to Saroj, Erry, Sanjeev ji, Rajiv ji, Geeta ji, and their family. May God give peace to this departed soul. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Mrs. Sachdev. Now I'm requesting another past president of the Aryapati Sabha America from Houston, Dr. Bhushan Verma ji, to pay his tributes.
Ganaga, क्यों इसने किया?
Om. Namaste, everyone. Respected family of Amar Erry ji, members of Arya Samaj Markham, and respected members of the greater Toronto community that have already spoken so eloquently. You know, in life, we meet so many people, but get to know only some of them, and yet only a very few of those who make an impact on us. Amar Erry ji was one such individual who I had the fortune of meeting almost 15 years ago when I visited Toronto and Markham Arya Samaj. After that, I met him a few more times at the various Arya Mahasammelans. He always came across as a very warm, compassionate, and kind-hearted person who had a very strong passion for the cause of Arya Samaj, very articulate, clear thinker, and always forthcoming. He had always impressed me with his talks, which are always very enlightening. Amarji lived a full life and carried the mission of Arya Samaj with full zeal and enthusiasm. They say that as in a tale, so is life, not how long it is, but how good it is. The various speakers have said so many good things, and that's a testimony to the fact that Amar Erry ji lived his life to the fullest. Not only that, he touched so many other lives. He truly justified his name by becoming Amar. And we feel so proud of his legacy. So let's celebrate his life. May God grant Sadgati to his pious soul. I would like to end with my sincerest condolences to the Erry family and to the members of Arya Samaj Markham. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Bhushanji, for those kind and generous words. At this time, I'd like to request from Boston, Pandita Gayatri Odhoji to say a few words. Please unmute yourself.
Namaste, everyone. My deepest sympathy to the bereaved family in memory of the late Pitaji Amar Erry. Join with me in prayer. ॐ शमग्ने पश्चात् तपशं पुरस्तात् मुदराच मधरात् तपैनम् एकस्त्रेधा विहितो जातवेदः सम्यगेनं देहि सुकृतामुलोके सम्यगेनं देहि सुकृतामुलोके ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. O effulgent God, you are the dispenser of justice. You reward, recompense everyone according to his or her deeds. Peace be to the soul of Pitaji Amar Erry in the westward direction. May there be peace to the spirit also in the east, the north, and the south, and all the other directions. O omniscient and all illuminator God, thou art the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer of this universe. May thou bestow a worthy abode to the soul of Pitaji Amar Erry. जरा तो सोच ये गाफिल कि दम का क्या ठिकाना है जरा तो सोच ये गाफिल कि दम का क्या ठिकाना है निकल जब वहाँ गया तन से तो सब अपना वीराना है. Stop and think for a little while. There is no assurance of this breath. Once it leaves the body, everything that you own is gone. मुसाफिर तू हयारू दुनिया सरा है भूल मत गाफिल सुबह होते तैयारी करे तुझे परदेस जाना है लगाता है बस दौलत वे क्यों तू दिल को अब ना हक न जावे संग कुछ हरगिज यही सब छोड़ जाना है रहो नित याद में हक की अगर अपनी शिफा चाहो और बस दुनिया के धंधे में हुआ तू क्यों दीवाना है जरा तो सोच ये गाफिल कि दम का क्या ठिकाना है कि दम का क्या ठिकाना है ओम शांति शांति शांति.
Thank you, Panditaji, for joining us and for that beautiful prayer. At this time, I'd like to invite a very dynamic lady, Mrs. Sheetal Bedi ji, who is currently joining us from Texas, but she's a past board member of Vedic Cultural Center and spent years and years working with Shri Erry ji, and we requested her, humbly requested her to say a few words in Shri Erry ji's memory. Sheetal ji.
Thank you, Bhuvnesh ji, Vishal ji, my humble pranam and dhanyavad to Arya Pradhanti Sabha for arranging this Shraddhanjali. All the tributes this evening have been touching and revealing of the deep, deep relationship that Amarji had cultivated in his lifespan. Paying tribute to someone like Shri Amarji is daunting enough. Doing it in 3 minutes or less is an impossible task. We all have spent these the last 4 days or so going down memory lane with our own personal recollections and reflections of this giant of a man. The news of his passing hit the airwaves like a tsunami within minutes on Sunday morning and engulfed us with profound sadness and grief. It was moving to see the reaction of our kids, on whom he left an indelible mark. Our early memories of meeting Amarji took us back to the mid-70s when Arya Samaj Markham was called Arya Samaj Toronto, and we used to meet at the Flemington Park Community Center. His entire persona developed over the next 20 years as he progressively stepped into a leadership role, forging strong relationships with other existing organizations, the politicians, and community at large. I was always intrigued with his relationship with my late parents, especially my mother, Mrs. Sarla Bedi, the first registered female religious minister in Canada and possibly North America. They had a profound and unique relationship. He considered her an advisor, confidant, advocate, older sister. I could never really figure that out. Their telephone conversations sometimes lasted hours, and this was before call waiting existed. At a personal level, I got to know him well when he enticed me into serving on the board of the Arya Samaj Markham. Those 5 or 6 years working alongside him were truly formative and extremely exciting. He was most supportive of my radical ideas, and together we managed to bring in programs like the youth scholarships, the public symposiums on Arya Samaj in the 21st century, domestic violence, all the annual fundraising dinners, the free yoga classes, amongst many other initiatives. I always admired his unconditional commitment and boundless energy, which would tire most of us out at the best of times. Although I left Toronto to move to Houston with my husband Neville nearly a dozen years ago, Amarji kept tabs on everything and everybody. Each time we communicated, he would always ask after every member of the family by name. And of course, his parting words to me always were, stay involved with Arya Samaj in Houston. Are you involved in the Arya Samaj in Houston? And I would go and tell him, of course I am. His passion and commitment to Arya Samaj took precedence over everything else. On behalf of the entire Bedi, Megon, and Sharma families, as well as the Arya Samaj of Greater Houston, we were fortunate to have Devji and Bhushanji address earlier this evening. It's a huge loss for everybody. We pay homage to one of the greatest Samaj Sevaks and humanitarians of our time. It is an opportune moment for all of us to do some introspection and self-reflection and see what great traits of Shri Amarji, Amar Erry ji, we can imbibe into our own selves. Keeping true to his spirit and his usual parting words to me, I would urge everyone who is tuned in tonight to get involved with Arya Samaj if you're not already, and especially support the great work of the Arya Pradhanati Sabha of North America under the leadership of Bhuvneshji and Vishwadji, who have organized this fitting memorial of a life well lived. Thank you once again for the distinct honor to be able to share some personal reflections.
Thank you so much, Sheetalji. I can just tell by your words that they're coming from heart, and the energy that is still there every time we met respected Amarji. And yes, I encourage everybody to get involved with Arya Samaj. If nothing else, give 20 minutes a day, an hour a week. So thank you for that encouragement. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to request another dynamic lady who worked in the last several years. I've been going to Toronto. She worked as the General Secretary with Shri Amarji from Arya Samaj Markham. Neeraji.
Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like to welcome the spiritual leaders, the dignitaries, the scholars, the various associations, organizations, invited guests, leaders, and ladies and gentlemen from near and around the world, as well as those that are joining us on social media. I thank God for his blessings and Arya Pratinidhi Sabha North America and all the volunteers for their dedication, love, and support in arranging this very special tribute to our Amar Erry ji. I know you guys didn't have a lot of time, but you've done a fantastic job, and my hat's off to you. First of all, I'd like to begin when on March the 12th, Mr. Erry came back from a meeting. We were supposed to reconnect. And I said, no matter what, you gotta call me. So he did. And by accident, my phone was in the car and I was really exhausted. We had a lot of groceries and there was a pandemic going on. And I stockpiled that, like I got so much bags of rice and dal. And I said, I'm not leaving my house. And I left my phone in the car. So Mr. Erry called me around 10, 10:25 and 10:35. And I regret not having my phone that day. And he just said, Neera, sab kuch ho gaya, everything is great. And I know you're very busy and it's late, you need to get to work. And I will reconnect with you beta in the morning. And just everything went well. So thank you so much and good night. And he sent, actually there were 3 messages. And in the morning, I woke up, I got 3 terrible phone calls. Somebody called to tell me they had cancer, somebody had a brain tumor. And then that day, I was with the city of Markham and Mayor Scarpidi, and such an honor to work there. And then 4 years later, I joined with the city of Richmond Hill, and my boss said, Neera, with the pandemic, you have a choice, and we urge all our employees to work from home. So that day when I drove home, I got home and the first phone call was from the Erry family. It was Sam Erry to tell me the sad news of their father. And Saroj Erry got on the line and she cried. But Sam said, my dad loved you so much. And he always protected you and he trusted you. He just trusted you like anything. And so we're going to trust you with this sad news we have to deliver. And my heart broke. And Mrs. Erry told me, please don't say anything. As soon as word gets out, it's going to be like, they won't be able to handle it. So for 3 days, I had to keep this quiet. And they told me, run as Mr. Erry would run. Make the decisions that need to be made. And do the needful, please, the family's begging you, but don't say anything. And Sunday morning, Sam gave me a write-up, his eldest son, and until I give you the write-up, don't mention. That was so hard, those 3 days, to hold everything in, my best friend in the hospital, and the family's in disarray. I didn't know what to do and how to tell my Arya Samaj members, because I know it'd be a big shock. And so I just collected all my board members, please come. We had a quick meeting and everybody froze. Our hearts all broke. And before I actually got everybody on the line, Sam kept texting me, did you send the message? Did you send the message? And I said, I did. Then I called my board members to inform them. He said, thank you. Now, he called me again when his dad passed away. And my phone was on silent in the mornings because I get so many messages. And luckily, he called my husband and he said, I need to talk to Neera. And he said, my dad's no longer. And we really need you now to help us. And so it was very difficult when he approached me for the funeral arrangements and the priest and everything. And I said, Mr. Erry used to do that for everybody else. And now this family's asking me. And it was very hard since Sunday. As I was assistant to Regional Councillor Jolie before, and now I'm an assistant to Councillor Godwin Chan. And functioning at work and holding this in, he is my world. And I texted Sam last night when he sent me his speech. He said, we're having the funeral tomorrow. Don't disclose, please. And don't show my speech to anybody. And I said, oh my God, my heart is broken and I'm completely numb. I've lost all my feelings. He was my world. He was my everything. He was my mentor, my guru. I've been on the board of Arya Samaj Markham for the last 10 years. And he always gave me the opportunity. He would step away and let me stand in for him in so many major events and things. They'd say, Mr. Erry, we want you. And he'd say, I'm sending you one of the best, which is Nira. And so I'm very, very thankful. He groomed me, he taught me, and he supported and encouraged me a lot. And I'm just so forever grateful. Amar means forever, immortal. And to him, what he's done to my family, to each and every child that we teach there, whether it's a Sunday school, a summer camp. I would host a summer camp for 3 weeks every year. At least there's about 100 people, just 100 kids. And just imagine how many lives we change in that 3 weeks, doing yoga, meditation, Vedic mantras, teaching about respect, well, you know, everything about being a good human being, and all these kids just love it. This is one of the initiatives that Mr. Erry created, the summer camp, the Sunday school of Arya Samaj. Then we have the seniors program. There's so many programs running there. It's hard to mention. Even on the community level, he's done so much for the community, not just for the Arya Samaj institutions all around the world. It's everywhere. Whenever there was a disaster, Bhopal was a great example, or when we look at Gujarat, when we had the earthquake in Nepal and Haiti, he was so quick in raising funds, and he said it's our duty as a human to help those in need. And even small things that he did, whether it was new immigrants coming in, he'd say, Nira, go right now and talk to them, connect with them, tell them that they have support. And he supported kids, he has supported education. Last year, he broke the record. 52 schools he set up in India. 52 schools for kids. Unbelievable. And Scholarship Fund is another initiative he's done at Arya Samaj Markham, and teaching, making sure that kids have funds to go to university or college. And it's just heartbreaking. I wasn't going to speak today, to be honest. It's too hard. But, you know, for him, I had to. And I did write up a speech. Whatever I've told you today is just from the top of my head. And that twinkle in his eye, that everybody knows his eyes would light up. They did, that his eyes would smile. And it just made your day seeing him. And I don't know now.
Thank you, Neeraj. I know the words are coming from your heart. And thank you for being the interface between the Erry family and the greater community. We know you have a lot on your shoulders. And thanks for taking the time to say a few words. And thank you for everything, and whatever help we can do to stand together and help with Arya Samaj efforts. Arya Patni Sabha is with you, with Arya Samaj Markham, Toronto Arya Samaj. So thank you for your presence this evening. Appreciate it.
Just 1 second. I actually want to thank the Mayor of Markham, His Worship Mayor Frank Scarpiti, Regional Councillor Jolie, Khalid Usman, and all the members of council. Lowering the flag means so much to the family, all the communities. I've gotten so many phone calls. Sanatan Mandar has been calling me, Rajasthan Association of North America, they've been calling, ABC Group. It's just unbelievable. So many seniors. So this is a salute to not only the Arya Samaj, the Hindu community, the Canadian, the Indo-Canadian community as well. And it means a lot. Trust me, it means a lot.
Certainly.
Salute you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'd like to invite Shri Mukhiji, who is from New York. He's a founding member of Arya Samaj, Long Island, Adarniya Veer Mukhiji.
नमस्ते। आज के दिन जब हम इस सभा में हैं, बहुत ही दुख के साथ कहना पड़ता है कि जिस पवित्र आत्मा ने हमें इतना कुछ दिया, इतना कुछ समय समय पर गाइड किया, वो एक बहुत बड़े दोस्त थे। बड़ी, मैं तो कहूँगा सब आर्य समाजों के दोस्त थे और सबको समय समय पर सहायता करते रहते थे। मेरी पहली मुलाकात उनसे मार्कम में ही हुई थी। उसके बाद हम मिलते रहे आर्य प्रतिनिधि सभा के सम्मेलनों में, परंतु उनका पहला ही एक सवाल होता था हमसे कि क्या प्रोग्रेस हो रही है समाज के अंदर, कहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं हम। क्यों करके जब हमने समाज बनाई थी तो उन्होंने हमें कुछ पुस्तकें दी थी शुरू में ही, तब तक हम लोग पूरी तरह एस्टेब्लिश भी नहीं हुए थे, कि ये लो, ये मार्कम समाज की तरफ से आपको भेंट है, आप इससे प्रचार करो। तो हमें उससे बहुत उत्साह मिला, हम आगे बढ़े। हमने कहा हमारे साथ और भी समाजें खड़ी हैं। तो इस प्रकार से जब हमने समाज एस्टेब्लिश कर ली तो उनका हर महीने 2 महीने में फोन आ जाता था या ईमेल आ जाती थी और पूछते थे तुमने नया क्या किया। जब भूकंप आया, सुनामी आई, तो हमें एनकरेज करते थे, कहते करो, कुछ करो। और आर्य समाज की तरफ से हमने किया भी और हमें भी उत्साह मिलता रहा इस तरह से। तो मैं तो यही करूंगा कि मेरे लिए तो अमर एरी जी एक फाइनेस्ट क्वालिटी के पर्सन थे। इतनी पेशेंस थी उनके अंदर कि वो उन सभी बातों को सुना करते थे और उनमें एक बड़ी क्वालिटी थी कि वो हर चीज को सुनकर एब्जॉर्व करते थे, एकदम नहीं कुछ कहा करते थे और बहुत सोच समझकर उसके ऊपर वो हमें फिर संदेश देते थे, गाइडेंस देते थे और बड़ी ही उच्च कोटि की उनकी गाइडेंस होती थी जिसके ऊपर चलकर हमें भी आनंद आता था। साधारण व्यक्तित्व के धनी थे, वेदों के ज्ञाता, वेद प्रचारक, स्वयं में ही एक समाज थे। वो दूरदर्शिता का परिचय उनका ये था कि व्यक्ति से समाज का महत्व है क्योंकि वो व्यक्ति धर्मनिष्ठ है। ऐसा उन्होंने सिद्ध कर दिया। उनका जीवन वेद और योग को समर्पित था। वे व्यवहार और आचार में योगी थे, सदा समाज सेवा की धुन में रहते थे। और जहां हमने सुना सबसे कि ना ही केवल समाज की, उन्होंने कई कम्युनिटीज की सेवा की और उनको आगे बढ़ाया। तो आज के दिन मैं आर्य समाज ऑफ लॉन्ग आइलैंड की ओर से और बोर्ड ऑफ ट्रस्टीज की ओर से और अपने मेंबरान की ओर से उस पवित्र आत्मा को नमन करता हूं और श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं और ये आशा करता हूं कि आर्य समाज उनके पद चिन्हों पर चलता हुआ नॉर्थ अमेरिका में और कनाडा के अंदर प्रगति करता रहेगा। इन्हीं भावनाओं के साथ आप सबको नमस्कार और उस पवित्र आत्मा को नमस्कार। ओम।
धन्यवाद आदरणीय मुखी जी। I'd like to request the past General Secretary of Arya Samaj Markham, Director of Vedic Culture Center, and the Secretary of United Hindu Federation of Canada, Mr. Yash Kapoor ji, to say a few words in memory of Erry ji.
Namaste ji. Since last Sunday, we have heard so much from so many people touching upon various facets of Amar Erry ji's personality. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to add anything to it, but as an ordinary volunteer of Arya Samaj and an ordinary Arya Samaji, I'd like to say a few words about Mr. Erry. I understand that Arya Samaj here in Canada was basically established by immigrants from Kenya. And as a young immigrant from India, when he came here, he took charge from Bauji Jagannath Ji Chopra as the president of Arya Samaj Markham. At that time, it was called Arya Samaj Toronto. My association with Mr. Erry is almost a little more than 30 years. and most of the time as his secretary and somebody as his assistant. I learned a lot from him. I was in constant touch with him, except for a brief period when I went on a UN assignment, UN peacekeeping assignment. Even at that time, he used to keep in contact with me, writing me long letters with his hand, telling me all what is happening in Arya Samaj and about our progress about fundraising. This evening, I'm touching only about 4 facets of his personality, which really touched my life and made him my mentor. His first was his personal touch. He had a magnetic personality, and which attracted everybody who came in contact with him. And he kept these contacts alive by wishing everybody on their birthdays, wedding anniversaries, and special days. He even remembered the birthdays of their children and wedding anniversaries of their children, and he conveyed his Ashirwad to them. As Vishrut has said, Raje, he also used this word for others. Vishrutji, it was not only for you, it was for many others as such. And I remember on New Year Day, he used to call hundreds of people, wishing everybody a happy New Year. I've never met anybody who would be contacting hundreds of people on one particular day to wish them in person a happy New Year. He was not a fan of social media, and he believed in personal touch. I'm sure he would not have been very happy to see some of the Arya Samajis being converted to Zoom Samaj now, because he believed that Arya Samaj should be for personal contact with the members. And I'm sure if he would not have been in the hospital, he would have been the first person to come to Arya Samaj every day, every Sunday for Havan and Satsang. The second aspect is he was a teacher actually, and he very much sort of synthesized his teaching skills with the skills of Arya Samaj as an effective pravachan guy. And when he started reading chapters from Satyarth Prakash, he told the audience, oh, you all bring your personal notebooks and pens to take notes as a teacher. Then if somebody forgot the name of Vedas, he'll say, okay, remember your Republic of South Africa, the first letters of that. That is YRSA, standing for Yajurved, Rigved, Samved, and Atharvaved. And then if somebody forgot the current Vikrami Samvat, he said, okay, remember 1857, the first war of independence in India. So remember 57, add that to the current year, and you'll get the Vikrami Samvat. So that was his qualities as a teacher. The next quality which I am touching is a very subtle way of conveying his message. So when I took his responsibility as his secretary, he told me the relationship of the president and secretary is like husband and wife. Don't misunderstand it. But he says that both should present a picture outside of perfect harmony, that they agree to with each other. I said, Pradhanji, that is right. But you know, the maximum fights are between husband and wife. He was quite serious person, but I took liberty with him many times. And when I remember, whenever I invited him for a pravachan on Sunday, I'll announce, Pradhanji, you have 20 minutes for the pravachan and margdarshan to us. And his response would always be, Mantriji, I do not allow anybody to come between me and my mic, as Chandra Khanna also said. And he says, I take my own time. मेरे लिए समय का कोई बंधन नहीं है. Pradhanji, please come back. Please come back. And I can assure you, there will not be any bandhan of samay for you. You can speak for as long as you wish to. I also remember a few years back, I mentioned to him that I want to change my name. He was quite amused and perplexed. And he said, why? I said, Amar Erry is the president of Arya Samaj Markham. Amar Umadas is the president of Toronto Arya Samaj. Amar Batish is the president of Arya Samaj Mississauga. I too wish to change my name to Amar Yash Kapoor. He understood that, but gave me a very enigmatic smile. I'm not sure whether he approved of it or disapproved of it. The next aspect is his discipline. He always felt perturbed to see indiscipline in the community and other institutions. And he said the only way for Arya Samaj movement to succeed in the world is to have the discipline of RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and the ideology of Arya Samaj. Those of us who are from India know that in the RSS, the Sar Sangh Chalak's wish is the command for millions of Swayamsevaks in India and around the world. In the end, Erry ji had a few unfinished projects which were very close to his heart. The first was he wanted to host International Sammelan of Arya Samaj at the Vedic Cultural Center. He also wanted to build a seniors residence. He also wanted to build an Arya school and some of the other projects. Well, I can only assure Pradhanji that we will all try to fulfill your unfulfilled projects. As we say, सुनोगे हमी से यशो गर्जना बहे नेत्र से भावना निर्धारा मदिया यही अश्रु पुष्पार्चना. In the end, I was at Arya Samaj last Sunday when the news came of his demise. I was looking all around, missing him. And suddenly I remembered a few lines of a very old film song. खुशियां थी 4 दिन की आंसू है उम्र भर के तन्हाइयों में अक्सर रोएंगे याद करके वो वक्त जो कि हमने एक साथ था गुजारा वो वक्त जो कि हमने एक साथ था गुजारा हाफिज खुदा तुम्हारा हाफिज खुदा तुम्हारा हाफिज.
Thank you, Yashi, for those beautiful words. And thank you for reminding us of his goals and his dreams. We reassure you that we will work together to make his dreams come true, whether it be bringing International Arya Mahasammelan to Toronto, whether it be helping building senior centers and all the other goals that you remind us. So thank you for your kind words. I'd like to
count on your support.
Thank you. I'd like to request Shri Mulraji Sethi, who was a senior leader of the Greater Toronto community. I've known him personally for more than 35 years when we were in England. And Mulraji has been a flag bearer of Arya Samaj and the senior community and the greater political community of Richmond Hill and Markham area. Shri Mulraji.
Namaste ji, Dinesh ji, Agnichi Avishuchi. Thank you for slotting me for 5 minutes in this program organized by Arya Pratinidhi Sabha. I've been a board member representing Canada for many years on the board of directors of Arya Pratinidhi Sabha. And I played fullest part in the running of the Arya Pratinidhi Sabha. It was 2012, and 28 people, I tried to take them from Canada to attend this Mahasammelan in Detroit. There, we agreed that we should hold the 2013 Sammelan in Toronto. And I must say, with the help of the West Indian Arya Samaj and Arya Samaj Markham, we celebrated that the Sammelan, one of the best we could ever do it. After that, out of these 30 Sammelans I'm sure I've attended about 22 Sammelans along with our president, Amar. Not only with Mr. Amar, but I always took other members of the Arya Samaj, always try to push them and attend these Sammelans. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to convey our last respect and say that final farewell to Amarji Erry, the president of Arya Samaj Markham, a noble and a great gentleman presenting our Shraddhanjali, completing his lifespan of 82 years. I feel we should celebrate his outstanding life lived for 82 years due to his good, true, and sincere karmas. However, the fact remains with us. He is gone, and his replacement replacement cannot be sought all over the globe. I had met him for the first time in 1989 when I visited, or rather migrated to Canada. I was soon appointed as the secretary in 1990 on the board of directors and served on the board of directors for many years, till I think it was 2010. My main subject was with serving the seniors. It was 1993. We founded the Arya Senior Citizen Club along with Dr. Jamal Al-Jaga. And once we formed it, we got a grant from the federal government of $8,000. And you could see it blooming till today, ladies and gentlemen. At the time when I left in 2010, I had a membership of 250 seniors on my list, those who would come and attend this seniors club on Tuesdays. I had worked with Erry very closely on the board for many years, sharing my activities. As I said, my prime subject was the seniors, and we had differences. We had the agreements on the table, but next morning we would be the same, meet each other, greet each other, and of course, say hello to everybody. As somebody said that he would call people on everybody's birthday. There was not a day when he would not call. You see, when we had a birthday, it's not on me, my wife's as well. This year, unfortunately, a few weeks ago, or rather 2-3 weeks ago, we missed that call. And on that day, my wife said, look, he's not well. And, and people don't have a birthday call. Anyway, we can say a lot about the gentleman. Volumes can be written about his work, what he did. A lot of people have spoken so good about him. A man of vision, outstanding, inspired with very deep fathoms of wisdom. A great leader with a profound knowledge of Arya Samaj principles, and a great orator and speaker with a great command of speech, and at times a great singer as well. He was a staunch follower and a promoter of Swami Dayanand Saraswati teachings and played a major role in all the activities of Arya Samaj as the president of Arya Samaj Markham for many years. He was a man of the highest standing and very well known in the entire Aryan community. He was passionate and a very dedicated community leader and a volunteer and a mentor. He had a voice of a lion who could roar for hours to express his views and ideas to the congregation. He brought us together under one roof to advocate his spiritual and cultural notions for years. A sincere and a very able ambassador of the Vedic Culture Center for the Indo-Canadian community at large. Vedic Culture Center was often heard of Erry Samaj. People would call him Samaj as Erry Samaj. Today, the walls are shaking and moaning as this was one of his other homes. The flag of the center is flying at half-mast. His sad demise had created a very deep vacuum, and I presume it is very difficult and if not possible to fill it for a long time. I hope and pray to Almighty God that his legacy continues for many years to come. I express my sincere condolences and deepest sorrows on the sad demise of our beloved Amarji Erry. To his family, his lovable wife, partner, Srimati Saroj Erry, his sons Sam, we call him Sam, Sanjeev, and Rajiv, their spouses, and the dear daughter, Geeta, and the families. My prayers to Almighty God for the safety of the departed soul. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, respected Muraji, for those heartwarming words. I knew how much his friendship meant to you, and he shall live in our hearts forever. I'd request from New York, on behalf of Arya Spiritual Center in New York, Bhai Pandit Bharatji to say a few words.
Namaste all. Thank you very much, Bhai Bhuvanesh ji, for this opportunity here this evening. On behalf of the Arya Spiritual Center, founded by the late Dharmacharya Pandit Ramlal ji, our entire spiritual leadership, our entire membership, onto the entire Erry's family and Mataji Saroj, his blessed children, we want to extend our dear and sincere condolences to the entire family. And as I speak here tonight, I've known Pitaji Amar for many years. I first met him in 1995 when I attended the Arya Mahasammelan in Detroit, Michigan. And that was hosted by Pitaji Girish and other members of the Detroit Samaj at that time. And one of the things I really admire about him, he always dressed, no disrespect to anyone who wear Western clothing, but he was always wearing his Indian suit, that Indian the Indian suit. I've never seen him with a tie or a jacket. And Bhesh, the way we dress tells a lot about us. And in his own way, we have heard so many things from the wonderful speakers. One little verse I just want to share that talks about his lifestyle. And Bhartri Hari Maharaj, in the text called the Bhartri Hari Shatakam, gives us a very beautiful verse in which he says, Parivartani sansare mritah kova na jayate sajato yena jatena yati vanshah samunnatim yati vanshah samunnatim. Parivartani sansare, this constantly changing world, friends. Bhartri Hari Maharaj asked the question, in this constantly changing world, mritah kovana jayate, which deceased person is not reborn? For a matter of fact, he's saying that when the soul would have left one body, it enters into another body. And that's always the case. But what's important, not always the case, sorry, but if we don't enter into a higher realm of birth, we enter to that realm of what we call mukti, final emancipation. But what's important, sajato yena jatena, what is it that makes a difference while we enjoy this human form? All of us watching tonight and the service tomorrow, we will all of us enjoy this journey of human life. But one thing that makes a difference, the question is asked, whose birth is worthwhile? And we know indeed his birth was worthwhile because he made a difference. The answer to the question is one who makes a difference. And indeed, Pitaji Amar Erry, he made a difference in the world of so many, in this world and in the lives of so many people, as we heard from all the wonderful people who spoke from the Markham area, the Markham Arya Samaj. I remember once I officiated at the Multikund event in Toronto, and he was there, and especially when he see the younger people, the younger pundits moving upwards, he always give that word of encouragement. And so Pitaji, wherever your soul is, as your soul travels on, we pray and ask God that may your soul, as the mantra says, Agni Naya Supataraya Sman, may there be no such pathways. As you travel on the pathway of liberation, may there be no such impediment that will impede your progress towards mukti. Again, on behalf of the Arya Spiritual Center here in New York and the Arya Samaj, United Arya Samaj Federation, which is the umbrella organization of the many Samaj organizations in New York, we extend our sincere condolences to the entire Erry's family, especially Mataji Saroj and their three wonderful children and the extended family. Namaste. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Panditji, for joining us from our Spiritual Center in New York. I know we are way over time, almost an hour over time. We just have, on a special request, I'm asking Vikranta Ahuja to please say a couple words, just less than 2 minutes, if you can, please. And then we have Acharya Brahmdeoji from Mauritius. He's been waiting, and then we'll conclude with Shantipad. So, Vikrantji.
Sure, I'll be very brief.
Thank you.
I met Amar Erry ji in the late to mid 80s when I was 10 years old. And even then I remember him talking about constructing a building where Arya Samajis could congregate, have a place of their own where we could celebrate Diwali, have Diwali functions and come together. Many thought it was impossible, and some even said it wasn't even feasible. Yet Amar Erry ji, who was a pillar of the Arya Samaj community, was one of the leaders who said we can make it happen. He knew that Arya Samaj, Markham Arya Samaj or Arya Samaj Toronto itself couldn't come together to make it happen, but together as a community we could. So he brought in the help of Arya Samaj Toronto, and together the two communities came as one to build the Markham Arya Samaj. Amar Erry ji was a leader from the Toronto community. We in the Adi Hindu community have lost a leader. He was a groundbreaker, he was a forerunner, and a pioneer who helped erect and shape the Vedic Cultural Center. We say that Amar Erry ji is our Adi member, but others say that he was a member of their community too. We heard Markham's mayor, several councilmen, members of various religious organizations, and numerous leaders speak from the world at large. Amar Erry ji imbibed Markham's multicultural values. He was a world ambassador, a Canadian ambassador, one who also imbibed and espoused Vedic cultural heritage. He embraced people of all walks of life. Canada has lost a multicultural voice, a voice that resounded a call to embrace humanity, immigrants, and social organizations, all of which he was a part of. We have lost a beacon of light, a champion, one who advocated universal Vedic values. The diya that Amar Erry ji lit shines and shines and is brighter within us all. We should not forget, however, that his soul continues to live on, and I have no doubt that his soul shall continue to brighten the way for others in continuing to propagating the Vedas and multicultural values in the lives that he will embrace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Vikrantji. Very good. Very energizing words. At this time, I'd like to request from Mauritius, Acharya Brahmdeoji is amongst us. He will be the last speaker before we conclude with Shanti Path led by Acharya Hari Prasad ji. Welcome, Acharya ji.
Om Namaste ji. Voice is clear to all?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'll start with one mantra which is in the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, and Yajurveda. Om Ashvatevo Nishadanam Paranevo Vasatishkrita Govhaja Itkila Satha Yatsanavata Purusham. This mantra says, life is like a tree leaf, the future uncertain. Understand the true nature of the world. All is transitory. Diligence is key to the realization of the ultimate goal of human life, moksha, mukti, salvation. Throughout this lease of life, we need to be virtuous on the path of dharma, be inspired by learned and elderly persons, learn from the laws of nature and the occurrences around us, and be conscious that Ishvara God is always within us, by our side, and all around us. If we want to see Mr. Erry in action, probably we can see around us also. Look at the mantra which says, Om Swasti Pantha Manucharema Surya Chandrama Saviva. सूर्य चंद्रमा जो है अपने path पे अटल है, always consistent, never deviating. And Mr. Erry was that in the path leading to the Arya Samaj. He stood tall in humility, in service, as given in the 7th principle of the Arya Samaj, Priti Purvak Dharmanusar, and he stood guided by the first word, Priti Purvak. And lives, there's one short line from Henry Longfellow, which says, lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing behind us footprints on the sands of time. And I'll come to one song from one very inspiring film, Dharam Karam. There's one line there, दूजे के होठों को देकर अपने गीत, कोई निशानी छोड़ फिर दुनिया से डोल, एक दिन बीत जाएगा माटी के बोल, जग में रह जाएंगे प्यारे तेरे बोल. And will remind Mr. Erry with cheerful memories within us. He was a father figure to Arya Samaj Markham, Toronto Arya Samaj, and Vedic Cultural Center. What is the present tendency in the world is division. And there's a famous song which says, Ek bata do bate char, choti choti baaton mein pat gaye sansar. One splits into two, two into four, and it goes on like that. And people just fight for the chairs. However, Amarji, Erry se choti hila diya and proved the contrary. He emerged as a unifier, got two Samaj under one roof. He stood guided by Principle 6, trying to do his best to uplift the conditions of the whole world around him. And around him doesn't mean his family, but the community at large. And stood guided by Principle 9 and 10 of the Arya Samaj for the common good and putting his own interest in the background. And the stock taking of the personality of Amarji for the interaction I had with him during my stay in Toronto Arya Samaj, Canada, and the Vedic Cultural Center. I would say A stands for awesome, affable, friendly, good nature, affectionate, adorable, amazing. M, magnanimous, mature, motivated. A, active, ambitious for Arya Samaj, analytical, affirmative, positive, accessible. R, reachable, realistic, reassuring. E, effervescence, effective and efficient, excellent, electric, brilliant, and vivid. R, resplendent, radiant, reliable, resilient, resolute, resourceful. R, reasonable, razor-sharp strategist, and in wit. Y, youthful, fresh, vigorous, active, agile, and very eager. Y also, for yellow, the sunshine he brought into the activities of the Samaj and the community at large. In the life of so many relatives and friends, Amarji, I repeat, stood tall in humility, in charity, and dedication in his works for the common good. The best homage we can pay to the departed is to toe the footsteps he left on the sense of time. Follow the guidance, repeat the good deeds multifold, and likely avoid the errors and omissions if he did so. But the guidance and the good deeds we have to follow. May Ishvara God give the courage to overcome this grief and peace to move ahead in these dire times in life. My heartfelt condolences to the family, to relatives and friends, as well as to all the members and well-wishers of the Arya Samaj Markham, Toronto Arya Samaj and Vedic Cultural Center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Acharya-ji. We appreciate the words of wisdom. Family has informed that the funeral will take place in the afternoon of January 2021, that is tomorrow. And they have respectfully appealed to everyone to find a few minutes on that date to peacefully meditate and pray for the elevation and enlightenment of Shri Amarji's soul, as stated as per our scriptures. These cumulative positives, vibes, and love from each of you will have meaningful reverberations, is the message that they had sent out and that I have read for you all. A couple of other condolences have been received. We are just reciting the names of those people. Mrs. Amrit Paul and Mr. Vivek Paul from Arya Samaj Greater Kailash, Delhi. They are sending their condolences. And same way, Shri Arun Abrolji from Mumbai Arya Pratin Sabha also is sending their condolences. So, well, a lot of things were said about the qualities of Shri Erry and the life he lived and the examples that he has left for all of us. As his next generation and a humble servant of Arya Samaj, we take the responsibility that whatever teachings, learnings that we have from him, we will try to imbibe those values and try to promote the humanity, the nobility, the Krinvanta Vishwamaryam, the goal of the Arya Samaj. That's the only fitting tribute to such a great person. And I keep saying to all of my age people that the first generation of Arya Samaj people have started the Arya Samaj from zero and laid a good launching pad for us to continue taking the work forward. And if we are not able to build it further from here, we are not doing our Pitri Yajna. So I pray to Ishwar from myself and from behalf of all of us that may we continue to make our parents, elders, ancestors, seniors proud who have laid the foundation of the Arya Samaj in us and in this country. With that said, I thank you everyone for being here. I know we are late by 1 hour and 14 minutes. Many people requested to speak and it was very hard for us to say no. Arya Pratin Sabha America feels proud that we were able to host this celebration of his life and paying the tributes to Shri Erry. So it was very hard for us to say no to anyone. It becomes very hard for us to stop the people when they are speaking. So I hope you will appreciate the situation. With that said, we again appreciate your patience, your continued involvement, participation in this memorial program. And let's continue marching ahead for the cause of the Vedic Dharma, for the cause of Arya Samaj, for the cause of making this universe noble. Let's stay united. Let's stay working for the common goal. With those few words, I will request respected Acharya Hari Prasad ji, who is the resident Acharya at the Arya Pratin Sabha America, to please lead us the Shanti part, and then we will conclude the program. Acharya Hari Prasad ji.
ओ सभी लोग मिलकर शांति पाठ के साथ इस श्रद्धांजलि सभा को विराम देते हैं। ओम द्यौः शांतिरंतरिक्षं शांतिः पृथिवी शांतिरापः शांतिरोषधयः शांतिः वनस्पतयः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांतिर्ब्रह्म शांतिः सर्वं शांतिः शांतिरेव शांतिः सामा शांतिरेधि। ओम शांतिः शांतिः शांतिः। प्रणवध्वनि ओम। सभी को सादर सप्रेम नमस्ते।
We are now concluding this meeting. Dhanyavad. Namaste.
Shri, namaste. Oh, welcome.